What's up, everybody? Welcome to PSI Love You XOXO episode 111. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, aka the future class of video games, aka the OK Beast Blessing Adeoye Jr.
What's up, Greg? I see you're matching with Janet today.
Oh, we want to do this right at the top, huh? You want to talk about this, all right? So obviously, well, I'll introduce everybody real quick for once. We won't do the whole thing, okay? Mm-hmm. Then, of course, she's marathon training, game playing, roller skating, Janet Garcia. Janet, how are you?
Yo, what's good? The marathon's in 6 days, and I'm horrified. Continue with your intros.
I want to talk about that later, too. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you know him from KindaFunny Games Daily, where every day we rip off his work for Out Today. He, of course, is Zack Zwiezen from Kotaku. He's the weekend editor. What's up, Zack?
Hello, yeah, I'm here to get some money. You guys owe me some money for that.
Oh, you know, I put in other things from an email. You know, you're the plate, and then I season it with other stuff too. It's not like we're just taking yours. You know, you have a lot of things wrong sometimes, and I don't. I could write in about them, but I don't. You know,
we'll talk off the air about that.
Oh, we will, of course. So now, Blessing, you want to address the elephant in the room. Mm-hmm. We have a crazy thing happening right now. Of course, Janet and me matching in our KindaFunny sweatshirts, as one does, because Janet and I are the same. But then you and Zack matching in collared shirts.
Yeah, Zack rose to the occasion. Here's the thing, right? Like, well, Janet, it was what, 2 months ago, where you were like, okay, once a month. Can I give you once a month in terms of me matching with you guys and wearing the same thing? And I agreed to it. It's just the fact that you guys didn't hit me up this morning. You know, you could have coordinated with me. We could have coordinated with Zack. I think I do have the sweater in my closet, but I also don't want to leave Zack out.
So nothing was stopping you from before when we hit live, when Barrett sent us off into the ether. You could have just gotten up. That's what I did.
Well,
I sat
it's just the fact that you and Greg talked about it.
Well, here's the thing. Janet and I did not talk about this.
No, we didn't.
But Blessing, Zack, and myself did in fact talk.
He's taking off his sweatshirt. Oh, there we go. There we go. Polo boys for life.
Collared shirt, polo boys for life. What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
The new Johnny Ace polo. KindaFunny.com/store. You know what I mean?
Greg, you creating a polo.
Yeah, I didn't like how I had to go all the way up top. I didn't like how I looked.
You don't like undoing the top button?
I thought I did. Now I look like I'm like an assistant football coach. I'm like
but it's
you look like the kids like hit it. Come on, Tommy! Tommy, you missed the block over there. You know what I mean?
Like,
you
like you're gonna swat me.
It varies.
I definitely have a dad mode thing going on with the polo. I'm sorry. What was that?
Well, now I have to reveal something, which is that when you told me about this whole collared polo thing, I said yes to you. I didn't know what a collared polo was. And so I said yes, and I was like, I know what that is. And then I told my fiance, and I brought out this shirt, which is a button-down collared shirt. And she's like, that's not a polo. I was like, oh. So then she gave me the tip to put a shirt over it to kind of hide my shame a bit.
Well, there's been a lot of moving parts to this, because, of course, when you get into bed with Greg Miller on a prank, one that's going to burn Janet so terribly. And look at her. She's just steaming. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I can't tell. I can't even tell.
Oh, no. Trust me. Yeah, I know Janet Garcia like the back of my hand. And this is one pissed off Garcia right now. All right? Okay. She's smart and she can't believe we got her so good. Look at her. The pain in her eyes. Oh, my God. Zoom in on
This is like the most excited I've seen anyone be wearing a polo shirt.
But no, there was a couple things that almost went wrong here, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is that when Blessing showed up, the first thing he did was start berating me, thinking I double-crossed him because I was wearing the same sweatshirt Janet was. When in fact, I had shown up, forgotten all about the bit. I turned off my camera after talking to Barrett and Janet for a while and put on the polo underneath the sweatshirt. You know what I mean? And then when Zack showed up, I had to DM Zack. I'm like, just say you have a polo on. No matter what happens, say it's a polo. But we got him. We got him with the collar.
Yeah,
we got her.
I did find it suspicious when you left and then came back, but then you had the same clothes on, so I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know what to make of it.
Guessing, Janet. You know what I mean? You never know what I'm gonna do. I'm a wild card.
So I wore for nothing.
It's kind of fun we have here at KindaFunny, you know? It's a wild
This is now another, I was mentioning this to Barrett before we went live, but I'm like, now I have to send this into the ether of like not clean but not dirty. I didn't need to do this. I already had a sweater on.
Well, again, it was just a coincidence that we both wore the KindaFunny sweatshirt. That wasn't on purpose. But again, you and I, you know, we're so locked cosmically that just happens a lot.
Greg, do you own a lot of polos?
No, God no.
Okay.
I only
I've
own
never seen
joke
you wear
I
those
polos.
wouldn't have even been able to do. I mean, I have to ask my dad or somebody to see.
Yeah, I own
he
the
has
joke
one.
polos. Remember, I have this is of course the new Johnny Ace one from KindaFunny.com/store. We can also get Janet's sweatshirt, no big deal. And then I also have that Greg Miller Toyota sweatshirt or polo somewhere that was like a gift from somebody who went to Greg Miller Toyota and knew my name was Greg Miller. But again, this is not. Look at me right now in this.
You look good. I think you look good.
I look like I am in Middle America, and I say this as somebody who was born and raised in Middle America, and like we are about to go to church, or we have just come from church.
As someone who live in Kansas, I can confirm that. That is true.
Yeah, right. And it's that thing where it's like it's what you'd see where people want to quote unquote dress up for church.
Yep.
But this is as far as a lot of the only thing above this is a suit you have for the wedding and funeral.
They want to dress up, but like also I got like 5 minutes to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I got the kids in the car.
I'm in Kansas. What are we doing here?
Nobody knows. I'm surprised you're able. You must be running your power on a generator, of course.
Yeah, I have a couple people out there spinning a wheel for me.
Thank you.
We're getting the electricity going.
I appreciate that. That means a lot that you're able to understand how Kansas
My
functions.
fridge. We had to unplug the fridge just for this, but we're doing it.
It's even one button. And again, it's a great polo shirt. I'm not insulting the polo shirt itself. It's just this is not. Greg Miller, one. I mean, I have the dad bod, and I guess technically I'm a dad now, but like.
I was gonna say you give dad vibes with the polo. That's the thing is I think you give grown and sexy, maybe a little bit without the sexy, but like you give grown vibes here.
Oh,
rocking the polo.
Oh,
I'm just saying it's like
I'm so glad to not be involved in any of this. I'm having a great time.
You give policy vibes.
How did it become an insult on me?
Because nobody's wearing polos
to be sexy. You really walked into it yourself. No one came for you. You came for yourself, and then everyone joined it.
I'm not describing myself as sexy with this polo, but like also I feel like I just bring it naturally, I'm like Justin Timberlake in 2006, bringing sexy back. But also, like, I wear the polo because it's comfortable. I feel like I appear respectable. I'm presentable.
You rock it. You look good in it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I look like I'm getting ready for a job interview that I hate. So.
I'm like what?
Yeah.
I'm the manager of a TGI Fridays.
You're the guy interviewing me.
Actually, that does line up. Yeah,
I can see that. Why do you think it'd be a good fit for TGI Fridays?
What do Fridays mean?
I know all the days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The other ones.
Zach, I'll stop you right here because in this TGI Fridays, it's always Friday. All right. When we want customers to come in here, we want them to have the 3 Gs: a great experience, great food. I'd have never worked at a TGI Fridays. I don't know what the.
I would love to see Greg at a job interview, like being interviewed, because I feel like you would knock it out of the park.
Oh, nowadays for sure, yeah. Back in the day, I always have the one where I went wrong, the EB Games, where I finally got my dream job interview to apply to EB Games, which of course, if you don't know, is Electronics Boutique, which you don't know is basically GameStop. And I got there, and I was so nervous, and I just blew it. And I know what question blew it. And this is how old I am too. Think about me applying for a job when this question is asked. All right, Greg, Star Wars Episode 1 is about to come out. If I wanted you to make the store display window, would you want to do it by yourself or with a team? And I screwed it up and I said by myself. And now, of course, GameSpot/EB/Electronics Boutique, they want team players. But I screwed it up. I thought I could do it faster by myself. I think I said as much too. I was too honest. Lost the job, never got it. Worked at Petland, worked at Walmart.
How's Petland?
It was fine. I mean, whatever. It was a summer job. You
made a really sick looking Episode 1 display at Petland, though. So people were really impressed with that.
Zach, if people don't know who you are, who are you?
Zack Zwiezen, as it's written here. I see there's a pronunciation guide.
Yeah, and again, this is your second time trying to tell me how to pronounce your name. Again, a true Kansan, the first time I asked you how to pronounce your name, you said it wrong to me. And you're like, wait, hold on.
To be clear, you were messaging me on the second day of a strike, so I was a little bit...
You had a lot of free time.
That's true. I had a lot of free time. Yeah, Zack Zwiezen, Kotaku weekend editor, which basically means that on the weekend I can do whatever I want. Nice. and it's never blown up in my face.
Not once.
Not once. I write all the stuff I could talk about GT Online, Red Dead, all the Rockstar games. So if you've read something about GT Online at Kotaku, I probably wrote it. That's what I do. I tweet.
We play GT Online sometimes.
We play GT Online. I ran him over once at GT Online.
You did run me over, and it was hilarious. I think it was my fault, though. I think it was one of those ones where, like, I got out my car. I was about to rock across the street. That. Yeah, no, like, it was, because I didn't look both ways. It's the thing.
No, you didn't, really.
And so I started walking across the street, and I just get fucking demolished. And I was like, what in the world? And I see Zach, like, oh no.
If you've never seen that clip, the best part is 3 seconds before I hit you, you can hear me go, oh shit. because there's no stopping at that speed. So I know what's coming, and you know
There's
what's
no
coming.
stopping at that speed.
You're in a residential neighborhood, by the way. Like you didn't need to be going that fast. You were going that fast.
I'm a criminal.
Can one
That's
of you
fair
find
got
that clip and send it to Barrett, and I'll introduce the show, all right?
Let me see.
It's on
let me see
Twitter,
what I can
yeah.
find.
We're going to
Yeah.
be talking a lot about GTA Online because this is your GTA Online starter guide, of course, with it coming to PlayStation 5 this week. But this, of course, is PS I Love You XOXO. Each and every week, we come together to nerd out about all things PlayStation. If you like that, like the show, be part of it over on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. On patreon.com/kindafunnygames, you can write in to be part of the show. You can get the show ad-free. You can get it with the exclusive post show we do. You could be watching live, just like I closed the chat. Oh, no, it airs. Just like Eric DiCarlo is, Estella Ellison is, and Ryan Puala Higgins are. Of course, they're all live. They're in there chatting. And if you have GTA questions, go ahead and throw them in there. And we'll get Zach and Blessing here to talk to you about it as they usher me and Janet, some GTA Online noobs, into what we're about to get into. However, if you have no bucks to toss our way, it's no big deal. You can get each and every episode of PS I Love You XOXO for free on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and wherever you get your podcasts on podcast services around the globe each and every Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. If you wanted another way to support Kinda Funny, why not use our Epic Creator Code? When you're buying stuff on the Epic Game Store, you can use the Creator Code Kinda Funny. If you're like, I only play on PlayStation, no big deal. Fortnite, Rocket League, and of course Fall Guys all use the Epic Creator Codes too, so pop Kinda Funny in there. Housekeeping for you. There's a brand new episode there's an episode every day of Kinda Funny Games Daily, but on March 14th, a new episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily went up. It has my Ghostwire Tokyo preview in it. We'll probably talk about it on this show, but as you know, we usually get long-winded on this show and sometimes don't get to what you've been playing. So if you're looking for my impressions of Ghostwire Tokyo and we don't make it today, of course, check out Kinda Funny Games Daily. We have a whole 30 minutes on it. It's great. Of course, then the Gamescast is always coming. Review season continues to be in the air, Blessing. Some people have had allergic reactions to it. Andy Cortez had to go take a Claritin because of it, because it's just everywhere out there right now. What that means, of course, is that the Gamescasts are coming at you fast, furious, and without any kind of way for us to tell you when they happen due to embargoes. But there are more reviews coming to Gamescast both this week and next, so get ready, strap in, and look for those. You could be like our Patreon producers, Gordon McGuire, Fargo Brady, Pranksky, Dan, the Golden Spider Bee, Tyler Ross, Delaney Twinning, First Responder ND, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, James Hastings, and Casey Andrew. This week, we're sponsored by MeUndies and DoorDash, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's start with topic of the show. The topic of the show, ladies and gentlemen, is GTA Online. As you know, GTA Online and GTA 5 for that matter, are dropping this week on PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, but we're not talking about that. Mainly on the PlayStation 5. And, it's coming and it's ushering in a brand new way to play. I thought this is the moment. You've heard the stories before. You've seen me and Kevin struggle. We've wanted to get into GTA Online, and I'm talking about when we first started Kinda Funny, and we just could not do it thanks to the archaic systems, the phones, the controls, loadings, you name it. We had problems with it, and it kept us away. However, Rockstar is promising a GTA Online paradise. And I figured since so many people would be jumping into it, why not get into here this episode and talk about why GTA Online is great and what we should do as noobs coming in. So I asked you all for questions, and I asked you, of course, for your own advice here. Is this the clip?
This is the
clip.
Is
this the infamous clip? All right, hold on. Can we hear it, Barrett, or do they hear it?
Give me a second.
No rush, Barrett. Barrett, of course, CEO Junior, Barrett Courtney on the ones and twos. Why you do that, or why you pull up sound, unless it's going to be like 2 seconds.
No,
2 seconds?
Boom. There we go.
All right, then let's do it.
You know what? I can drive you there if you want to read chat or something.
So this is me driving down
wait, where are we
the road
going?
right now.
I'll come meet up with you.
Speak it out of my car.
Oh shit!
Oh my god! I was looking at the wrong car.
How did you get up to that? The fact that you got up unscathed, no hesitation from your character model is beyond me.
And this is another angle that a Kinda Funny best friend caught.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and like
got him good there, Zach.
The funny thing is, I think this is when Zach was like, "Oh yeah, come into my car," and so I see that car of the Kinda Funny best friend. I'm like, "Oh, that's Zach's car." I don't register it that's not Zach, and so I'm running to it, and then I hear Zach go, "Oh shit!" And I'm like the gears are turning in my head of what's happening. I'm like, "That's not Zach," and then I get hit. And so yeah, I fucking love. I mean, that's why I love the game, right? For moments like that of like, "Oh yeah, I did not see that shit coming," and now that's a clip.
So let's start there. Blessing. how much GTA Online have you played? Of course, remember this game, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new around here, originally released on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, October 2013, came to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, November 2014, Windows, April 2015, and now PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S in 2022.
I played a lot. I'm trying to find on my Rockstar Social Club right now, of course, which is the website that you can go to that tracks all your GTA stats and like you can save jobs, bookmark shit, all that stuff. I played when I checked my PlayStation clock that it tracks now on the PS5. I think it had me somewhere over 500 hours. And that is on PS4 and then also on PS3. I played a lot, right? I probably played a few hundred hours on there as well. So if I had to estimate, I probably estimate I'm somewhere in the 700 something hour range of GTA Online, and that is over the course of I guess 9 years now of playing the game.
Zach, what about you?
I looked it up, and I'm at 730 hours.
Damn.
So it's about 30. It's a little over 30 days, which I think is mostly accurate because I took my 360 character and brought him to PS4.
Gotcha.
So this is all. I have played a few hours on the PC, but only like 10 or 20. So nothing really.
So then my question, and when did you start? When did you start in 2013 on 360?
I started, so GTA Online went live 6 hours earlier than they announced secretly, kind of. Like, I don't know if it was by accident, on purpose, I don't know. So that's when I started playing. Like, I was in day one, like 0 hour, and I somehow skipped all the issues. All my friends.
That's my thing, right? Like, I was day 1, 0 hour 2, and it was such trash fire.
Yeah, I had my friends had the issues where like their character would change gender, they'd lose their cars, they'd lose their money, all that stuff. I skipped it somehow. I don't know how. But yeah, I've been playing since literally they turned the servers on, and I'll play till they turn the servers off, and then I'll keep playing.
Janet, for you, how much Grand Theft Auto Online have you? Grand Theft Auto Online have you played?
Played 0 hours, so I'm going in fresh. I honestly don't do a lot of online gaming. Like I'm kind of like, and I'm not against it necessarily, but at the same time, like it's just never something that's spoken to me. I think growing up, having my brother who's 6 years older than me, like we always just played games together. And obviously, you know, as time progressed, like it took a while for online to even be an option. But as it became one, like I didn't really feel the need, or I wasn't drawn to those type of games. I think too, especially for like, in my perspective, when I first started seeing like online gaming kind of become more normative and more popular, it was a lot of like shooter, a lot of competitive stuff. So, and I wasn't really interested in that kind of thing. So just from there, I kind of, I guess, developed a weird, I wouldn't say aversion to online, but it never became part of my repertoire. I think too, like, you know, last year we were looking at the PlayStation stats and like how many hours. And like one of the reasons I didn't have like a crazy number of hours in one game is most of my stuff is like one and done single player. Like I'm in, I'm out, the credits rolled, or they didn't. I uninstalled it at some point, and that was kind of it. So I'm looking forward to what this might offer because I do like GTA a lot. I've played a lot of the games, but I never played 5. I never played online. So I feel like this is the perfect time to get in here to be one of the people like late to the party and trying to see what is allegedly one of the greatest games of all time. What does this look like in 2022?
Yeah, and I pulled up my Rockstar stuff, and as always, you know, Jan and I, cosmic twins, we're the same person pretty much, and so you know, I've come around. Thank you very much. You'll get one. You'll get one. All right. Joey's gonna send you a polo shirt. Don't worry.
I can't wait.
It's the idea of.
I got lost in the middle.
I've always been the single player person, right? But over the years, I have opened up more to online stuff. When you see me playing something like The Division or Avengers or whatever. But GTA Online, when it dropped and didn't work right, and then even when me and Kevin came to it later on to try to get into it, it was still bugged. My whole thing was I wanted GTA Online to be the, hey, there's a bunch of single player stuff you can do, but then you can come together with your friends, which is, I think, why The Division always worked so well for me. Because there was the narrative, there was the thing, go off and do it on yourself. And then even some of the end game, not a raid, obviously, but some of the end game was still, you can do it by yourself if you want, but then you can also team up and be more powerful. And so actually, I'm surprised earlier today, Bless put out the, hey, make sure if you're going to do GT Online, make sure you're in our crew. And I clicked on it and I am in the crew. I have been there. I think I might have started this, or I don't think it was yours.
This is the one where I hit you up like half a year ago and I was like, hey, can you give me the keys?
Because we were playing and you were trying to do something with it. And I was like, you need to be the crew leader.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so like to look into this though, like my GT Online characters, I have more hours than I thought I would here. I currently on my character here, I'm rank 18, playtime 13 and a half hours. So nothing to sneeze at in terms of me and Kevin giving it the college try and getting into it, but it never work the way I want it to. And again, that's why I think there will be a better chance for me this time around with the career builder and all that stuff, which I want to get to and get into what's new about it. But where I want to start instead is Zach, why? You've played this obscene amount of hours about it, and obviously the game is fun. I get that. That would be why in the one word answer, right? But 720 hours, 30 days of your time. What brings you back so much over and over again? I mean, nearly a decade later.
I think, of course, there's the aspect that I write about it, so that's part of it to a degree. But like, if I didn't want to write about it anymore, I could make that decision. So I am coming back to it separate from that, and I think it's because, like you were saying, that idea of a always growing online GTA is amazing. Like that idea is great, and GTA Online failed at that for a long time.
Yeah.
But in the recent years, this game has become kind of what you were just explaining. Like you can play a lot of this game by yourself or with one pal, and you can have fun. They've added more story missions, so I love watching the evolution of it. I love coming to it every day and going like, oh wow, they fixed this, or they made this better, they added this thing that we've all been wanting for, like the nightclub stuff or the casino. Yeah. People have been wanting the casino literally since the game came out. People have been theorizing like, oh, if you go here and shoot all of the money signs in the banks, you can unlock a secret entrance to the casino. It was all bullshit. All that. But people always wanted the casino. So it's been really cool to just watch this game evolve alongside my life in a way. Like I was not engaged when I started playing GT Online. I was not ready. Like my life has changed so much. Like, so I don't know, like me and my GT Online character, we've grown up together, we've done the hard time together.
Bless, what about you?
Yeah, like I feel that a lot, right? In terms of the come up from it, where when I first started playing GT Online, that would have been 2013 when the game came out. And I like Zach, right? I was kind of there on ground zero as soon as it came out. And I struggled through a lot of those issues. But for me, as somebody who was I think it was a junior in college at that time, right? Like I was starting my junior year. I was hopping into this game that I had been anticipating for the longest time, because that was I think the same year that I started getting into like listening to video game podcasts and following along with like IGN, because I'd watched the Last of Us review and all that stuff, right? And that was all the same year. And GTA was one of my favorite games growing up, especially GTA San Andreas. And so I already had a built-in hype, knowing that GTA 5 was going to be their return to Los Santos. That was already something I was super hyped for, because I had known GTA San Andreas as Los Santos as being like my GTA, and like, coming off of San Andreas going into GTA 4, that being in Liberty City, I like GTA 4 a lot, but it didn't hit home with me in the way that San Andreas hit home with me, because it felt so much like no, this is a city environment, this is what it is. It revolves around Nico Bellic and all that stuff, right? And I really do like GTA 4, but it wasn't like this is my favorite game ever, in the way that San Andreas growing up was like one of my favorite games ever, right? That really showed me what an open world game is and what an open world game can be. And so like going to GTA 5, I remember being like at the announcement, right? Like I had like requests that like I wanted from GTA San Andreas, where I remember playing San Andreas and going, man, if this game had better graphics and it had less bugs and it had multiplayer, this would be the perfect video game. And then they announced GTA 5, and I was like, oh, this is my perfect video game. Like this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. And so for me, I was already hyped for GTA 5. I remember seeing the trailer for online, and I think watching that trailer is the thing that really blew my mind. Like, Barrett, I don't know if you're able to find that original GTA Online trailer from 2013, but I remember seeing it's amazing, right? Because it is like,
I don't remember this trailer at all.
Oh, it's a fantastic. I've
watched it like 100 times.
I remember that like a moment. That was like one of those things like you don't forget where you were when you watched that.
I remember my friends and I getting together, watching it again, and going like, "Oh wow!" Now you watch it; it looks kind of boring. If you watch,
now you're watching, you're like,
I see the caveats are already coming out. You're like, oh man, it was so good. Oh, I mean, don't look at it though. Don't watch it.
You had to be there, Janet. You had to be there.
There's literally a section there where they talk about the arm wrestling. Like they make a big deal about
they're talking about arm wrestling. They're talking about
nobody does.
Yeah.
Is this the Barrett? Yeah, like you want? Or how long is it, Barrett?
Is this the online one specifically?
No,
find the online one.
Yeah, the online one. I mean, I did watch this like 500 times as well. So
that too, yeah. But like that was the thing, is watching that trailer. It was coming off of this trailer, right? Where like, or in the previous trailer, story trailers.
It was like 8 months later, something like that.
Yeah, and it was them like being like, oh yeah, and you can own an apartment. And then it was, I think the shot that really did it for me was the character walking to the window of their nice apartment, and you see everything happening, of like planes flying by, cars chasing each other, and it's like, Oh shit!
Like, that's it.
That's it. Like that is the dream right there. That's what I want from
I got
this
one
game.
from August 2013, I believe.
I can tell you based on like the very first frame, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's it.
All right, hold on, give me a second here. All right.
Say Rockstar Presents again, though, you clown. You can't tell if that's Zach.
Boom, that's it. I told
That's
you
it.
right there.
I
That's it.
recognize.
Okay, yeah,
Grand Theft Auto Online. Rockstar Games is looking to bring the heart of the Grand Theft Auto experience to a living online world with multiple players. Just what you choose to do in that world is up to you.
Ops and GT Online do not line up like that, by the way. That was
The game combines a persistent and continually expanding world.
The submersible wasn't available in
personalities.
GT Online on day one either.
Welcome to paradise.
And again, like all the stuff they're showing, right, was stuff that like for me was unexpected.
With a
GTA
wide
4
array of
GTA 4 had
redesigned
online,
mechanics.
but it was very like here's deathmatch, here's racing, right, here's open world mode. Whereas this felt like a living, breathing, evolving. Like you are going to take your character, and you're gonna level up, and you're gonna do arm wrestling. And they're showing like synchronized people riding bicycles.
What's going on?
Honestly, like that's what it felt like, though, right? It felt like an all-encompassing. This is Irish Republic. This is Call of Duty. This is XY. This is co-op missions. It feels
It's 100 games in one.
Yeah, and I think the thing that felt super special about it was that like this was before Destiny. This was before what we know now as like games as a service, where now we're talking about like evolving worlds that are online, all that stuff, and like that feels like future.
They don't. I do like that they tease a heist here. It took them like 2 years to get
heist for forever. I remember.
Yeah, but like they tease it here, right?
Yeah, they tease it for a long time.
And they're showing like coordinated stuff here. It's fucking awesome. But like,
oh my god, the golfing.
This was before the idea of like what games as a service is now, and so hearing that presented in the world of GTA felt so otherworldly and felt so cool. And so ground zero for me jumping into GTA Online, I was like, okay, let's fucking go. Like I want to live in this world. I want this world to be the thing that I keep coming back to in the way that I know Greg was and probably still is to some extent into DC Universe Online, right? Like this is that for me where I was sold from the get-go. I was sold from the world, and I just wanted to be in it. Barry, if you can probably fast forward to like the final shot in it, because we were getting pretty much the gist if you're watching the video version of all the things that they're showing off you can do.
For both of you watching this, is this video we're watching now representative of what GTA Online is?
No, they took Armored Truck Heist, or that's not in the game anymore either. No, because like a lot of what they're showing here is not what the majority of the player base does. Like the idea of just hanging in your apartment or arm wrestling and stuff. So I think actually
it's much earlier in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Well,
for some
also,
reason in my head it was what they closed out with.
I think that's the shot from the original single player gameplay overview that they teased the multiplayer overview with. Was that shot?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, the majority of the player base today, they're very obsessed with cash, getting all the money they can, heist, that kind of stuff. So a lot of what they're showing there is still in the game. You can still arm wrestle.
But you, Zach, never turn it on and like, I'm just gonna golf today.
Every once in a while, I will with my friends.
Yeah, I did golf earlier in the year.
And that's the thing. If I give one tip today that anybody listens to, it's don't go on GT Online subreddit and like obsess over the meta and trying to get all the money and all that, because like you don't even need that much money to have fun in GT Online. There's so much cool stuff to do.
That's like what a rich person would tell me. Though.
I know, right?
Well, as somebody with over $30 million,
after the taxes, I wish I was you.
The thing is, like,
you don't need money. It's fine.
I think when you first log in, they give you nowadays. I think they give you like what, $4 million with the.
So
would you like the entire rundown of what's new? Just so we're all on the same page right here.
For sure, yeah, go for it,
ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna take the mic for 1 second. I'm gonna read from 2 different Rockstar posts about GT Online and starting fresh. Of course, you can bring your character over, and then there's all the bells and whistles and stuff you'd expect. But this is mainly about being fresh stuff. All right. The massive and unrivaled experience of GTA Online, with an unprecedented 8+ years worth of gameplay additions delivered across over 40 unique updates, will continue to evolve with the power of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S. This new generation of GTA Online includes a range of new vehicles and a new addition to the Los Santos car meet, House Special Works. House Special Works encompasses best-in-class vehicle upgrades, a new class of races using specifically modified vehicles, and a weekly rotation of House Special Works time trials, along with premium test ride, where you can get behind the wheel of these newly modified vehicles for free. In addition to access being included as part of GTA 5, GTA Online will also now be available for the first time as a standalone title for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Plus, for the first 3 months from launch, GTA Online will be available to download and keep for free for PlayStation 5 players, making it easier than ever for new players to experience everything GTA Online has to offer. And new players might need more than just a pistol in their belt strap to survive Los Santos. So we're introducing a new career builder feature designed expressly for new players or anyone who wants to reset their character and get a fresh start. To get an introductory leg up in the criminal world of Southern San Andreas, with this system, you'll get $4 million to select essentials, including business properties, vehicles, and weapons. Furthermore, GTA Online for PlayStation 5 has an assortment of new quality of life improvements, including a newly designed introduction and tutorial for new players, a new front-end main menu that allows you to jump directly into free mode, heists, races, adversary modes, and the latest featured event content to come. Then I'm merging in another one about GTA Online as a new player. And what are we watching right now here? This is the career builder, Barrett?
Yes.
This is the video Zach sent over?
Yes.
Okay. As mentioned last week, GTA Online on the newest generation of consoles will feature the Career Builder, which you're watching right now if you're on YouTube. If you're in your car, you're watching the road. This is designed to give new players or anyone who wants to reset their character a fresh start, a helpful leg up in the criminal world of Southern San Andreas. With the Career Builder, you'll enter GTA Online with a business property, a vehicle, and a weapon, with room to add useful upgrades and a little extra GTA money to begin. Sorry, this is one of those things where the screenshot put in text. Choose from a selection of the most popular criminal career paths in GTA Online: executive, gun runner, nightclub owner, or biker. From there, you'll receive $4 million to bankroll to put towards acquiring the essentials. Picking one of these 4 careers will ensure you have a business property and a huge range of missions and gameplay to embark upon immediately. And you can, of course, expand and dabble with new careers as you progress. After selecting a career, use your newfound GTA $4 million windfall to acquire startup essentials from across a wide variety of properties, vehicles, and weapons. You can select from the basics, a non-upgraded business property alongside a simple weapon and a vehicle combination. Or you can opt for business properties complete with upgrades and customization, high-end vehicles, and enough weapons to fill a gun locker. It depends on how much you want to spend your dispensation, and you can bring a maximum of $1 million from this with you into GTA Online. So,
interesting.
This is the thing that's excited me the most about it. I found, when Kevin and I, broken when I first played, Kevin and I get in there and we were overwhelmed and we're trying to be sherped through by Peanut, but even then we were having trouble. I need a narrative backbone to anything I want to play and really get into. And so the idea of a career builder and a new tutorial and giving me a business, all is exciting. The problem is I don't fully understand the career path, GTA Online, executive, gun runner, nightclub owner, biker. Zach, what are they talking about?
So that's stuff that they've added over the years where essentially you can buy into a career path. Like, for example, let's take what I think, if you're going to do this career build, you should choose the biker. Personally, okay. That's the one that I would go with.
Why should I pick bike? I love these tips. I'm taking notes.
Okay, I'll tell you why. And I know there's some people will disagree, and that's fine. But I think the biker is, if you're just looking to have fun and live out like a fun fantasy, the biker is what you want. Because the biker missions are like Sons of Anarchy stuff. You're breaking people out of prison. You're hitting down other gangs. You're using Molotovs to burn up rival bars. And there's these interesting systems, like if you're playing with a couple friends, you can all be part of a crew. You can ride together in formation, give each other bonuses. Like, you get your own motorcycle that you upgrade, your own cool, like, shitty biker bar. So if you're going to pick one, I would pick that one because I think it's the most fun. But any of them that you pick are going to come with business properties. And then from there, it's a little complicated, but you basically are going to start doing missions that will help you earn cash, that will help you buy and upgrade more things as part of your business. Because eventually, as a biker, for example, you'll be able to get a place that grows weed. You'll be able to get a cocaine depository. I have a great cocaine depository. Really awesome place.
Simply must stop by sometime.
You should.
It's so done with the place.
So you have the cocaine depository.
I do. And I have a weed depository too.
You pick the biker lane, you start building all that. It gives you missions and I'm guessing a loose story for what's happening.
Very loose.
Okay. And then it's like, we need better hydration for the hydroponics. So you go out and you steal something and come back, or money, and you put that in and the thing gets better. And then it's generating income.
It's generating income. And the missions will, like, for biker, there's always a board that's updating every few hours with new missions. And you'll do the same one eventually pretty soon. But they're very fun. And yeah, like your business property, as it does better, it becomes a bigger target for the cops. So at some point, you may have to go and fight off the feds and save some, like they stole one of my cocaine workers. I had to go save them. Not cool.
Not
good.
Break them out.
Yeah. But Oh, you're fine.
Well, I wanted to chime in a little bit because I think a lot of what you're describing is kind of how the gameplay loop of GTA Online works, which is it is pretty much what drives you, right? Like, what is it that you feel like doing, and how do you get into that loop? Where it's funny, I think the choice is interesting between the bikers, gun runners, the nightclub, and the executive. Because like these are all things that I don't have, right? Like I don't have any of those. I think I do have an executive property, but I never used it. It didn't appeal to me. Whereas like
so wait, how did you play before and not have it? Did you not have to ever pick? Is that like
no? These are things that they've added through updates later on. And so like for the first few years, it was me like doing what the content that was available, but then they inevitably added heists. And heists you get with having a high-end apartment, and that was kind of its own thing, where it is cool. Now I can do these, and now this will be my loop to get more money. And then as the years went on, what they did was add in basically more avenues for you to kind of define how you want to play. And each of these avenues kind of have different gameplay loops where, a few years in, that's when they add executive. A few years in, that's when they add gun runners and all this stuff, right? The ones that I have now are the auto shop, which I like, right? And that was the one that they added in. Great, yeah. Yeah, it's great. They added this in like 9 months ago, I think and that was the one where, or maybe like 8 months ago, it was in August. And that's the one that had the Fast and Furious stuff that you heard me talking about on shows, where it is focused on cars, it is focused on tuning out vehicles, and that is the stuff that really appeals to me. I think that stuff is fun. And with that, right, the way that I buy into it is by, okay, cool, I need to buy an auto shop. Once I buy an auto shop, that then unlocks certain types of missions that I can do, and those missions involve auto shop type stuff, right? Or I forget if any of them involve car theft, but it is like
there's some crime happening,
and then like tuning out vehicles, and then delivering those vehicles, and then I get access to the car meet where I can go show off my cars, do races, and all these things, right? And so they have a grouping of missions that basically follow their own gameplay loop that you go down, right? And then now the latest one I've done is the one that dropped in December, which is the Dr. Dre one, right? Which is Franklin from the single player mode. He now owns this organization that is that helps out like celebrities and high profile people that come to him and come to like it's basically your franchise with McDonald's, right? Where like Franklin is Ronald McDonald, and you are franchising one establishment of it. And so like Dr. Dre, and this is one of the few ones that I'd say does have a narrative backbone, and probably would speak to you, Greg, to some extent, because most of these I don't think have really too strong narrative backbone. It's more so just the simi nature of it.
The nightclub one has a pretty decent narrative backbone.
That's what I was thinking of doing too. And also, real quick, Bless, to either of you, like I have so many questions. I'm like holding back laughter because my questions are so dumb, and I'm like, oh my god, like I know how you're going to deal with me on this episode.
Online.
So, I picked these career paths to kind of just like, it seems like they sort of added these sort of scaffolds for structure. It's like, do you, no offense people that are like this, because I'm like this. It's like, do you like maybe not, is it too much freedom? You kind of want, something to ground you a little bit, and you can figure out a path from there. Can I like choose something like, nightclub owner? And then at one point in my life, I'm like, you know what? I'm over this. I want to be a biker now. Can I switch up? Can I bike on the side and nightclub by day? Like what?
We can warrior.
Not only can you bike club on the side, you can be all these things at once, and you can even. So the way it works is to do any of this kind of stuff, you have to activate a mode. There's a mode that you have to activate that it turns you into a CEO or a biker or an executive. And so once you're one of those, like highfalutin people, you can do
like
any
starting
of
a party almost.
Right. And so what's cool though is you can become a biker and then go check out your nightclub as a biker. You can go do like you're never locked down. These are more just like
it's expensive. That's the thing is like they give you the $4 million for a reason, and then the reason is like you got to basically buy into like each of these things. And so like if you want to become a biker, you have to spend the money to like buy. I assume you're buying like a biker club type deal, a garage.
Yeah, new weapons, upgrade your bike and stuff like that.
Yeah, and if I want to be an auto shop owner, I got to buy an auto shop, right? If I want to be an agency owner, I need to buy an agency.
I guess I should say, if you're looking at these 4 career paths, we already explained the biker one. The nightclub is if you're somebody who's into music, if you're into a little bit more narrative, like Laszlo from the old GTA games. Oh, yeah. He's in the nightclub expansion. You hang out with him. So if you're into that kind of stuff, if you're into managing your own nightclub, you literally can go in there. Other players can come. You can make money off them visiting. You can decorate it. It's almost Animal Crossing like in that way.
Okay, no, literally, like as y'all were describing this, I'm like, this sounds like Animal Crossing, but with guns, which is honestly something that I think Animal Crossing has been lacking for a long time. Nintendo, get on that. M-rated Animal Crossing. You know, we're doing like cocaine with Tom Nook. Like that sounds good. So that's basically what I think I'm gonna mostly do. I'm like, I'm trying to stay in this apartment. Like, forget the helicopters outside. Look, I got a new pool table. Have you seen my new sofa? Like, that's what I'm trying to get.
You can live in your nightclub. You don't even need an apartment. You can just live in there.
Yeah, and that's the dope. That's the dope thing. And is then, like the way they've continued to evolve it is by like adding shit that might pique your interest. Like the reason why I got so into the auto shop stuff was like I was having flashbacks to playing San Andreas and like doing the auto shop stuff in that game. And so when I took my first car to the auto shop to really trick it out, which like you've always had the auto shop stuff, but like they've added in way more for that update specifically. Once I got my I think it's called a tuner car, right? Once I got my tuner car and brought it to the shop and I had all these options, I was like, dude, I can do this all day, right? It reminds me of playing any other racing game and tricking out your vehicle to be the dopest thing it can be, except now I can take this vehicle and do crimes with it type thing.
And what's great about that the executive mode has something similar in that where you can essentially you get your office, then you can source a car, and then you and your buds go grab that car, and then you bring back a few. Once you've got like 4 or 5 cars, depending on how many friends you have. If you got a lot of friends, you're gonna need a lot of cars. But what's cool is you can then sell it, and you all get to pick a car, and you get an unlimited budget to trick it out however you want because you're selling these cars to clients. And then you have to drive them to the client. And let me tell you, as the person who is always paying for this stuff, because all my friends are freeloaders and don't buy anything in GTA, there's a little counter, and it keeps track of all the damage they're doing to my cars. And let me tell you, I get a little angry when they start doing damage to those cars.
Gotta find better friends. So that's the thing is like, so what if I like how we're all, me and Janet are like, well, this is what calls me. Executive seems like the smarmy little shit I'd want to be. Like what is the business I'm running? What business am I running?
So for executive, you can smuggle, or you can get like supplies. You fill a warehouse with supplies of like illicit stuff, stolen TVs, stolen VCRs, that kind of stuff. But you can also steal cars, like I was just explaining. So the executive has a few different avenues to make money. So if you're just looking to make a lot of money, the executive is a really good thing. He's a little boring because he was the first one they added. That was like the first one they added. So you just have an office. That's kind of boring. I will say the one cool thing about the office is the more crime you do, the more it just fills up with illicit TVs and cash. Mine is just like stacks of cash and TVs and stuff. The gun runner is a little bit more action-packed. All the missions you're going on are like, let's get some helicopters and go fight the military and steal their guns. And you're smuggling guns. Literally, Smugglers Run type shit happens in that. If you know Smugglers Run, old Rockstar game, there's that stuff's happening. You do some of that in here, explicit references to it. You get your own bunker, and you even get, if you've ever seen Austin Powers, those little motorized cars that he drives around and he gets stuck in the hallway. You get those, and they're very fun. You can run your friends over with them.
Zach, here's my next question as a GTA Online expert, and no offense to you, Blessing. If you have for nightclub owner, how much can I customize it? Because like I'm totally down to just chill out as internet's Greg Miller and have people come visit my nightclub, and it's jacked up prices, all this different stuff.
Oh, you get to set the prices, yeah.
Can I put it? What about like you can't like upload your own
drink is $30?
No. Calm down now. This is Rockstar. We don't have
that's
advanced technology.
This isn't WWE 2K.
No,
you know exactly where my head's at, Bless.
We have boundaries in Rockstar. So you have there's 4 or 5 different themes you can choose from. You can mix and match. You can name the club, set the prices. Even more exciting is you can actually you can pick the DJs, real world DJs, who will come into your club and perform.
Hatfield. A lot of people.
Not those, but there are other great DJs too. But you could also just leave them there. So I have a DJ that I've left there for like 3 years now. I feel really bad about it because
help me.
They've just been stuck in a mostly empty nightclub, and it's also mostly empty at this point because I don't even mess with the nightclub stuff right now. So I visited him recently, and he's still going. God bless him.
Could I buy your nightclub from you?
No. This is a monopoly.
All right.
It's an NFT right there. They don't want that.
Don't give them
I figure I can get it for
Greg.
cheap. You know,
Shit.
your business is failing. Like, what other choices do you have?
I would sell to you in a heartbeat, but I can't. They won't let
Got
me.
Janet coming in like John Taffer on Bar Rescue. I'm
Oh
gonna
my
flip
God.
this GTA failing nightclub.
honestly,
I'm actually
though, like-
terrified of that possibility if they ever added that, because then you'd have rich people coming into GT Online servers and go like, "Man, when was the last time you came to your bar? You know what? Let me give you a deal on it." And then people are just going to lose.
Fair offer, I think.
Just make this like an HGTV episode. Yes.
Look at this neighborhood. There's tanks everywhere. Nobody wants to come over here.
So you talked about, at the top where you're giving all your tips here. Ignore the subreddit, ignore all that stuff. Just go in there and have fun. Nick writes into patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, just like you can. It says, my friends and I are all about to start playing together. What are the first activities to do as a group? What should we focus on to progress our characters?
The advice I'd give, I'd say you can go down those routes of whatever your business is, whether it is the executive, whether it is the gun runners, all that stuff. But also don't feel beholden to that. Like, one of the things I like to do when I'm playing GTA 5 is literally just do the races and literally just do like whatever adversary modes, which are like basically PvP modes. I'm sure, Greg, you've done them before, because it is like I think you described doing like a Funhouse or Achievement Hunter video of like
we went to Achievement Hunter and played a whole bunch of stuff with them.
Yeah, like one in the chamber type stuff, right? Like there's a lot of those modes that are easy to set up, especially if you have friends around. Like that, I think the one tough thing about it is that there's so many modes that like a lot of them just don't have people that are populating them, but they always do have like a featured mode, and like the featured mode will oftentimes be like a PvP adversary or race mode, where it is I just want to play the game with people and like get into the loop of winning. And like when you win in those modes, and even when you don't win, right, you're gonna earn some amount of money. It's not gonna be a crazy amount of money, but like NXP, right, and that'll level up your character. But if you are doing
what is the XP going to? I don't even remember anymore.
It is going up and going into your rank, right? And so like you mentioned that you're rank 18, and like the higher rank you are, the more stuff becomes available to you, whether it's like higher level weapons, higher clothing, higher level missions, right?
It
like
also
you'll
gives
just
you
unlock
access to certain things. Like you can't own a Gatling gun to your like level 75.
Exactly.
Like that. Just like real life.
And the other question too, it's not skill point related, but this is how long I've been out of the game. On my page here for my characters, it's criminal record, and it's got stamina, stealth, lung capacity, flying, etc. And their bars. That's just me doing stuff, right? Like the more I run, the higher my stamina goes.
Yeah, and that stuff like it doesn't matter really. Like
you're gonna do I have to breathe to get up that lung capacity?
So here's a fun thing: my lung capacity.
Smoking the weed help my lung capacity? Is that how I increase my lung capacity?
That would actually be great, but you have to swim to fill your lung capacity. But here's a funny thing. I told you how many hours I put in this game, right? Yeah. My lung capacity is barely at 2 bars. Because lung capacity is worthless. Don't worry about that.
I'm just gonna swim for 8 hours and just see what happens. Like,
that's the kind of shit that I'll get in my head, Janet. I'm the same way. I'm like, well, I want to max character, so
it's very standard.
Character.
We'll alternate. One of us we'll just share one character online while one of us is working, the other person's swimming nonstop.
That's good. It's like San Andreas style, right? Where like the more you do a thing, the more you'll level up that thing. But it's not something that you'll ever want to think about, right? Like once it levels up, you'll be like, oh shit, okay, cool, I have strength or whatever. But it doesn't matter that much.
Only strength. Strength is the only stat that I believe fluctuates, but you can only upgrade strength from doing like arm wrestling. So again, don't worry about it.
Golf doesn't add to strength. It seems like a pretty physical sport.
It should actually. Like a lot of things should add to strength.
We're playing fast. I think if you get
like
over here,
if you get like fist fights, I think that should add to strength too.
It's almost as if Rockstar had a plan.
Right, Blessing, get online and punch me in the face right now.
I got you.
I would say to that question, I also think if you're a solo player, because there's a lot of people who play GTA Online who don't have a lot of friends who are, I mean, I'd say 80% of the hours I've played was alone. Pretty sad. But if you are a solo player, the best place to start, or even if you're just playing with a friend, is the contract missions. Because contract missions in this game there's no fussing around. You don't have to find people. You don't have to do teams. It is literally just GTA missions, bite-sized GTA missions within GTA Online, and the best part is they're instance. There are no other players to fuck with you, and you can set the difficulty. So if you want to just do a bunch of them really easy, that's fine. But if you up the difficulty, you make a lot more money, and they all pay out, and you can just keep doing them. And there's at this point now, I think there's like 300 of them or something like that.
Yeah, there's so many of them. And that's what when I first started playing GTA Online, that is actually where I spent the bulk of my time. Right, in like 2013, 2014.
That was just the best way to make money,
Yeah, like contact missions, because they are just regular co-op missions that are instant, right? If I match with somebody else, cool, I'm doing a GTA, just a random GTA mission with other people. I know if you're looking for a story, right? Like you're not getting much story out of those at all, but it is like a fun like activity to do. And like they've evolved them over the years. Where now like there are really cool ones. Like Zach, you probably be able to speak to this better because like it kind of came and went at a time I wasn't playing as much. But there are these special vehicle missions that I think are really cool. Where over the years they Rockstar would add in like these cool ass vehicles, right? Like the DeLorean or like
too.
Like transport vehicles. Like you'd have like cars with rockets on them, like cars with dope ass abilities. And with that, they added in what they call special vehicle missions, which are missions that revolve around using those special vehicles. And I remember going back to those and having a blast with them just because they're really dope setups for like these co-op missions that I could do with friends or do alone and like, experiment with, flying the DeLorean or doing whatever cool thing that I feel like doing.
I'm trying to remember. I think you need to have an MOV to do those. That's that big armored truck thing.
Oh, I see.
I think you have to have one of those.
But you can also like matchmake into those too, though, right? Like you don't have to start it yourself.
That's my other big tip is if you have a friend who's like 800 hours in, like me, just leech off them. They're gonna give you so much content that you don't have to pay for. They can do the heist and bring you in. They can do the special vehicle missions and bring you in. They can do all this stuff, and then you'll be able to make up your own money and buy into this stuff and start doing more.
When you say buy into it, that they can get you into these missions that are expensive or whatever, is that just the level capping, or like you can't do the?
Like you just probably won't have access to it, even if you do this career builder, which is great. Like let's say you do the career builder, you pick biker, and then you're kind of like, I also want to do nightclubs. Well, Rockstar ain't giving you fucking money for that. So if your friend has a nightclub, you can start making, or if they have anything, you can start doing stuff with them, earning cash. Or ranking up your RP. And I also think it's really smart to do that stuff, to play the contract missions, to hang out with friends who are playing it more if you have those, because you'll kind of get a feel for GTA Online. GTA Online's a little weird and kind of broken, and you kind of learn the intricacies and how it works by playing it like that.
Zach, you've been playing it already, GTA Online on PlayStation 5.
I have.
Is the broken stuff better? And and when you're saying broken, do you mean janky in terms like I remember how annoying the cell phone was to try to fucking party up and get to a mission and all that stuff. Is that still a hurdle, or have they simplified that to an extent?
That's still kind of here.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess like the big thing people care about is loading times.
Sure. Oh yeah, they're atrocious in GTA.
People call it the cloud simulator for a reason, because you spent so much time in the clouds in that game waiting for the game to load. And I can say, at least from the first few hours that I've played on GTA Online, no more than about 30 seconds to coming in and out of content. Now, that has the caveat that if you're playing stuff online and it's a mode that nobody's playing, you're going to have to wait because there's nobody playing it. But outside of that, if you're like switching to your online character, or if you're loading up with a bud to play contact missions, that stuff has been loading so much faster on PS5.
Yeah, and I think to the jankiness of it too, right? I think some of that comes with understanding how the menus work as well, which Rockstar does a terrible job of doing.
Awful.
And like it wasn't until last year where I just started booting up missions from like my start menu, going over to the game, and then like going there, and I was like, oh, this is the easiest way to do it. Why don't they get rid of the phone? Like I don't understand why it feels like the default thing to do would be to open up the phone and then missions or do the contact things, which they want you to do, I think, because it is in world. But like I think the more you play, the more, and especially like once you figure out exactly what the thing you want to do is that day, right? Like it's so easy to get into a heist and then get into the loop of cool. Now we're just getting to the heist and not having to deal with like the janky portions of trying to set up a match and like trying to figure out how to do XYZ thing, when it is all right, cool, it's my heist, cool. Once I finish a heist mission, I'll get the text from Lester to do the next heist mission, and then I invite, and then it's like wash, rinse, repeat of cool, we're in it now. I think that applies to pretty much any type of mission in the game. But when you're first jumping into it, the game doesn't tell you that, and you have no reason to understand that, because there is so much that the game is trying to throw at you at one time, and it just comes off as very messy.
Yeah, I would say a real top tip is learn how to use your interaction menu. I've talked to so many people who have played GTA Online for hundreds of hours who still don't know how to use it.
But what is the interaction menu?
So that's essentially the thing where on PlayStation, you hold the touchpad and it brings up this menu. And this interaction menu is like incredibly vital. You can kill yourself in it, which is actually important. Sometimes you get stuck. But more importantly, you can drop money for people. If you did a heist together or you did like a crime together, you could drop money for people. You could start impromptu races.
I'll stop you right there. I want to stop right there. So does it only pay out to one person, and then you, as the crime boss, have to
No. This is for very specific things. Like if you rob a convenience store together, you can drop money for it. It's very specific things.
Yeah. You can also you can choose where you spawn, which is a huge thing that I think
you
people
can change your style. You can change
your style, change your clothes. You can go into passive mode, which makes it so that people that are just playing online don't come and kill you, because that will happen a lot.
Because you're gonna need. Listen,
you can you can apply armor, right? Like the interaction menu is pretty vital for be pretty much doing most of what you want to do.
Alive.
Yeah,
staying alive. Yeah.
So here's a very, very top tip: if you're in the game, you have to eat food to heal, because you won't heal full health. Once you take damage, you only heal half. So you need to eat, but don't just eat. Take cover and then eat, because then it doesn't play the animation and it's instant.
I
didn't know that.
That's the top tier tip. All right. That is helpful. I like that one a lot. Adam F. wrote in for the GTA Online experts and said this. Hello, one and all. Firstly, by the time this episode airs, for all those watching and listening later, it'll be my birthday. And I can't think of a better way to celebrate it than have some level 500 plus GTA Online mega player blow me to pieces with a flying motorcycle while firing heat-seeking lasers. However, my question is this. How do I stop myself from repeating missions over and over? I've played a decent amount of GTA Online over the years, but always find myself in the same playing the same stuff repeatedly to make a quick buck. I only ever play solo, parentheses, which I know limits my possibilities, but how can I broaden my horizons as a solo player while also making decent money in the game?
Executive.
Okay.
Go executive and start sourcing cars and selling cars. Because you're by yourself, you're going to be a little limited, but every car, if you get lucky, because how it basically works is you source a vehicle and it gives you either low end, medium, or high. Store up some high end vehicles, and then for a few hours one day, you can just sell those things, and you can make tens of thousands of dollars pretty quickly. So that's an easy way. If you're by yourself, do it. Like Blessy was saying, look for double XP and cash events. They're always happening.
That's what I was going to bring up, right? I would say do the featured modes, because the featured modes rotate regularly. Maybe once a week or something like that. They rotate, and those are all going to be different activities, and that's going to make you a lot of money. Like the one that's up right now, I think it might be 3 times, or at least I saw something in there that was like 3 times money and 3 times XP, and you'll get more the better you do in those events, and so those do end up being pretty fun to do because they switch things up, and if you're a PvP type person, you're gonna have a blast doing those, and then also the big tip I'd give to anybody playing GTA Online is to not get too caught up in trying to make a lot of money.
Yes.
I think if you want to, then sure, right? Like find the jobs and the things that are going to get you into that loop of becoming rich. But also, you don't need to have money to have fun, right? No. Like the thing I love about GTA Online is just
sound like a rich person, Janet.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, do I have $10 million?
I mean,
yes, I do. But also,
you just give me that money.
Janet, what does this
theoretically
look like?
I'm just asking
who do I look
for
like
the people
to
listening.
Just
I wasn't asking. Look, have you seen my nightclub? It's gonna do big things. Okay, we're like this close to getting Skrillex to DJ.
Because these rich people are participating into the economy. It'll trickle down to you two eventually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna spend at your nightclub.
It's funny you mention that, because if you play as an executive or a bike or whatever, and you guys, let's say Greg's joining me as like a fellow biker, calm down. If Greg's joining me as a fellow biker, we're bikers. You gotta be tough. Give me a tough look.
But also, that's what I was gonna mention earlier.
You actually earn a payroll with me. The better you do, you earn. The game actually pays you for hanging out with me and helping me. And if you let me die, it takes away from your wages. So,
going back to the $4 million thing, right? Like, I know most of that money seems like it's going to go toward actually building your establishment. You'll probably leave with like $1 million, but I've always had probably somewhere around like maybe $1 million to $4 million. Like right now, with where I'm at in the game, I have the most money that I've ever had at 10 million, because I've been doing the thing where I log in each month and they give me my free $1 million. But most of the time, I'm fluctuating between $1 million to $5 million, and the places where I'm finding the fun is by I'll join in on random contact missions. I'll join in on the race because I love the races. Like the races might be some of my favorite.
The stunt races are so good.
The stunt races are so good. And if you're a racing game player, right? Like I think GTA 5 is a really great racing game, honestly. And so that's where I find a lot of my time. But attaching yourself to different things. The thing is there's so many different missions to do that if you remove yourself from the idea of just wanting to find the biggest money makers, you're going to have a blast just going through different missions, and you're going to naturally make money anyway. And so that'd be my biggest advice.
Yeah. To your point about money real quick, and the fact of they every week on Games Daily, I forget what day. This is from March 10th, so whatever.
Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday. I read like just the blurb about what it is, right? And so like last week on March 10th, it was short trips pays out double GTA money this week with a lump sum bonus of 100K and a free black SA fitted cap for completed thing. Plus, in preparation for GTA 5 and GTA Online on PlayStation 5, players can enjoy a wide array of discounts, bonuses running through March 23rd. And it's through March 23rd, 2 times GTA money and RP on the hunting pack. Unlock the trade price decline. 3 times money on air races, smugglers. 2 times money, and it goes on like this. And I didn't know this. I just claimed it while you guys were talking. There's a Prime Gaming bonus right now.
Yes.
Players who connect their social club account with Prime Gaming will receive a 100K bonus for playing anytime this week.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing. If you have a Prime account, hook it up to your social media, Rockstar Social Club account, because they're doing that kind of stuff all the time in GTA. You get bonus cash, you get all that.
But yeah, those shout outs that we give every week on KFGD, yeah, I think do usually apply to the featured stuff, and that is the stuff that you'll want to do, and that's Rockstar's way of keeping players active, right?
Yes,
where
sure.
like I mentioned before, right, if you jump into a random mode like that was active like 4 years ago or created like 5 years ago, you're not going to matchmake with people playing that mode because nobody's doing that, because there's hundreds of modes that you can play in GTA 5 or GTA Online. And so the featured series helps it so that they're able to kind of find a new thing each week where it's like guaranteed you're going to matchmake into something here, and also you're going to make a lot of money doing it.
So, for example, because I just looked up on Kotaku.com an article I wrote about this years ago, and this is years ago. At one point, adding it all up, there was over 583 different modes and things you could do in GTA Online. That's including races, death matches, contact mission, user created stuff.
That has to be way more now.
At this point, it's probably closer.
And that's
to
probably
like
not. That's probably not including creator stuff, right? Like
no, that's why. Yeah, that's not even. Yeah, we haven't even touched on the fact that you can literally spend 100 hours in GTA Online and never play the game. You can just make maps and races that other people play.
And I think with that, I want to go to Emmett Watkins Jr.'s question, which I think we've answered, but we haven't put a pin in. So let's stick with me, all right? Emmett writes into patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames and says, I played a lot of Red Dead Redemption 1 online, and I was hoping to replicate most of the fun of that game in a modern-day setting with GTA Online. Red Dead was fun mainly due to its PvP matches, pretty simple co-op missions that focused mainly on combat, and its excellent zombie horde mode. Is there any activities in GTA similar to these that I can focus on, or will I have to participate in the more complicated activities, parentheses, setting up heists, etc., to progress online?
You can totally do the PvP stuff.
Yeah, and because I've played a lot of Red Dead Redemption 1 online, so yeah, like replicating that fun, like I was mentioning, the contract missions is a really good way to get like that co-op mission vibe. The PvP stuff, depending on what you do. There's some really good simple PvP deathmatch. Will just give you straight up the simple kind of Red Dead 1 vibe you're looking for.
Okay. My thing is, if you have friends, I do think it's really fun to go into the featured stuff or the adversary stuff. And like like I said, right, the adversary stuff usually is like the, what do they call it? Like the when people are doing different things at the same time, like Evolve.
Asynchronous multiplayer.
Yeah, or asymmetrical.
No,
yeah, it's basically like
asymmetrical. Yeah.
Yeah, usually they're those kind of modes where the one I was playing, I think I was playing the featured one this morning actually when I first hopped on for PS5 online, and I forget the name. I think we said it a few times here, but the featured series name. But it was basically a mode. I had no idea what I was getting into, but basically the mode was, hey, it is 2v2. One player is driving a truck that they're trying to get to the end of the course.
Hunting pack or whatever.
Hunting pack. Yeah, I think that might be what it is, right? One player is driving the truck. That player's teammate has another car that's like a fast car, right? And they're facing off against the 2 players that are trying to slow them down as much as possible so that, they can elongate the time that it takes for team 1 to get to the end. Yeah. And like after that, they switch roles, and like it's you're trying to see how fast you can get to the end, right? Like it is ridiculous modes like that where if you have friends, that stuff ends up being really fun, right? Yes. And like I remember about a year or so ago, I was playing online, introducing my friend Yami to GTA 5 online, right? And we were doing a mode that was popular at the time where it was this, like, you launch off a ramp with your car, you expand your parachute, and then you try to land in the middle of the bullseye type thing, right?
Oh,
Whoever is able to get the best landing gets the win. Yeah. And like that shit is fun. Like that is the shit that you probably see in like Let's Plays and that you see like the ridiculous YouTube videos of. And that is the stuff that when it's featured, which is often, right? Like it'll get you the XP, but that also it'll get you a good time with friends. Yeah. And I think, I think when we stream, I think that'll be some of the fun stuff that we're going to be able to get ourselves into.
How long does it generally take to get through like a featured thing? Like if I was like, I want to jump into the featured like mission or whatever and knock it out.
When you're playing with friends, you can set the time, right?
Yes.
When you're playing randomly online, what a lot of people like to do is make it real long, because the longer it is, the more money you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
And so if you're up for it, you can do it that long. Otherwise, you can't set it yourself and go, cool, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make my own lobby and just make it short, and people will join that lobby.
Yeah, GT Online has a real bad thing about like giving you more money for more time. There was a meta at one point where folks would start contract missions, and then you would just sit in a car and wait for 30 minutes and then start doing the mission because you would make more money.
Yeah. It is nice though, because that means like if you're stuck on a thing forever, you're gonna make more money out of it. Like the game does reward your time. But yeah, you just gotta play with the right people, right? Like if you matchmake with somebody else who then is obsessed with money, then you might get into that thing.
I sit in the car, I go make my dinner in real life, I finish, I wash the dishes.
Well,
and then I
make sure you turn your controller upside down so your camera's moving, or you'll get kicked for being idle.
Smart.
Smart. Candy still for 15 minutes. I knew we were gonna get some pro tips. Hell yeah, we're getting some pro tips. I still have more questions, but before that, I want to give you an answer. You might say, hey Greg, I love this show. How can I support it? You can go to patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, where of course you could write in to be part of the show. You could be a Patreon producer. You could get the exclusive post show we do each and every week. But right now, you could get the ad-free version. But you're not on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, Jack. So here's a word from our sponsor.
Shout out to MeUndies. We've all been there trying on clothes in a dressing room, and everything makes you look like 3 kids hiding in a coat. Finding the perfect size is annoying. That's why MeUndies makes undies, bralettes, and loungewear to fit just right. Y'all know how long I've loved MeUndies. I am often wearing the shirt, the lounge pants, the undies, the socks, like I'm doing right now. If I was a cartoon character, this would just be my outfit. It would just be all MeUndies. I love it because of the soft micromodal fabric and because it does fit really well. MeUndies knows that comfort starts with the perfect size and fit. That's why they test all sizes from extra small to 4XL for everything they make. They've got different cuts for different butts and everything from bold colors to fun adventurous prints, so the world can be a comfier place for every booty. MeUndies promises if you're not comfortable with any product for any reason, you can return your order for a full refund within 45 days. MeUndies has a great offer for y'all. For any first-time purchasers, you can get 15% off and free shipping right to your door. To get 50% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/KindaFunny. That's MeUndies.com/KindaFunny. Shout out to DoorDash. Sometimes pulling into your driveway after a trip to the grocery store only to realize you forgot one key ingredient for dinner kind of feels like the end of the world. But with DoorDash, you can get the groceries and household essentials you need, or a backup meal from your favorite local restaurant delivered in under an hour. Desperately craving a late night snack, or just want to stock up for the week? With DoorDash, get it all in one app. We've been using DoorDash forever. You hear us on the Kinda Funny podcast always talking about the different taquerias we're ordering from, the different burger places we're ordering from. We are super happy, and we love to just get the food delivered right to us. For a limited time, you guys can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code KindaFunny. That's 25% off up to a $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code KindaFunny. Don't forget, that's code KindaFunny for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change, terms apply.
All right, now that we're back, what I want to do is talk to Kendrick Luckenbach, who writes into patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, just like you can. Excited. What happened now?
I thought you were going to say Kendrick Lamar. I got very excited.
I don't know if he Patreon supports. He might. Who knows? You know what I mean? But this Kendrick writes in, and he isn't writing in as a new perspective on GT Online. He's writing in as an expert. And he says, my main advice is to check out the online content that has added stories. Missions with Lamar, Gerald, the casino, the heist, Cayo Perico. They all have excellent cutscenes and even more rewarding content. There's always content every week that Rockstar tags as double or triple money, so don't hesitate to grind out some racing content either. Very enjoyable level design. So what I want to do is bring in these examples. We had talked earlier about the stuff they've added with Dre, obviously, and that being story related. Would you say there's now a wealth of story related content when you bring out missions with Lamar, Gerald, the casino heists? Like, am I going to play this and be like, oh man, there is like a multi-hour or double-digit hour thing here?
Now that it's like listed out in it's one of those things. It's hard to like. I've played it
for so long,
but like actually listing this out. Yeah, like you have the lowrider stuff with Lamar that has cutscene. That's its own narrative thing. You got the Gerald. He's like preparing for the economy to collapse. That has a whole mission thing. The casino storyline is fantastic. and is like feels like something ripped out of GTA 6. You know, it's that kind of like that quality level.
We should do that because I've never touched the casino stuff.
Oh, we should. The casino stuff is great. It's great.
So stop right there. This is my question. That's a great example. We should do that. You've done it. You like. Would Janet and I be able to come to that, or would we be so low level that we be worthless? Or
so I would recommend that you guys, we want to get you guys up to like level 20, 30, which actually doesn't take too long if you're just playing races.
Janet's eyes get so wide.
She's like, oh god.
Who's funding this?
But also like I could lead that, right? Like in terms of getting it set up and started. Where I believe for the casino, I think you need to buy an arcade, which you can buy arcades in the game.
Wait.
So for the casino,
can I make money off the arcade? Can I just run an arcade?
I should invite you all to my arcade. I have every arcade machine.
His arcade is pretty cool. I've been to his arcade.
Yeah, it's 40, 30, and they're playable, and you can play them all.
Oh,
are they real games or like?
See, the Rockstar. I'm not gonna level up. I'm just gonna be fucking playing like arcade basketball all day at this Dave and Buster.
You can come, and we sell liquor. We're a cool bar.
Nice.
You know, yeah.
Can I drink the liquor while I'm playing the games? Because sometimes they don't let you.
You can be drunk and play games.
Okay, cool. I don't have to just keep it at the bar. Okay, this is.
You can get drunk. You can get drunk in real life and then play GT Online drunk, and then play a game in GT Online drunk. So you can go full Inception on it, and
it's levels to the shit.
But I was gonna say, for the casino, all you need is a penthouse. One of you needs a penthouse.
At the casino.
At the casino, and once you have that, whoever has the penthouse can invite everyone else. And I think you have to be level 20, maybe. I don't remember there is a level cap on that. But
I think there's just a level cap to start, though, right? Like I can bring in Greg and Janet as like accomplices, and they should be able to do it.
If I'm someone that's because I'm obsessed with like customizing things and cosmetics of things and like making this into is that going to be to my detriment? Because it's like, I start with 4 mil, like I'm going to burn that real fast buying a bunch of like leather sofas that I then feel like, oh my god, they're ugly, they don't match, and now I have to buy another set of leather sofas. Well, meanwhile, I'm not generating any income. Like, will I struggle leveling up and getting the money that I need to have the experiences that I should have by having this attitude?
Well, there's always. This is the tip. Whenever I tell people, I get angry messages on Twitter about, but you can always buy a shark card. I know that people get so mad.
Microtransactions in my game.
I know, but like I look at it as like I've been playing this game for 9 years.
Yeah,
and like the amount of hours I've got into it, I don't feel bad every once in a while. Yeah, I buy a $40 or whatever shark card because people don't have time sometimes to do all this grinding for cash. So don't feel bad. Buy a shark card. It'll make your life so much easier. You'll be able to.
I also do think that like it will make the gameplay loop fun for you if you wanted to be like, cool, I want the money so I can trick shit out. Now you have a goal. Now let's like hop into Blessings game and like do the heist so that I have the money to spend on the shit that I want to spend it on. Right. Yeah. Like I think that desire to want to make shit dope is part of what makes it fun. Where I have like $10 million right now.
Like a true rich person. You're like, I mean, without the incentive to keep doing what you're doing, how would anything get done in our society?
But I'm saying though, like I have fun in itself, really.
And I have I have the $10 million I'm sitting on right now. And like right before this, I was looking through the one of the websites where you can go through and like look at cars and buy cars off of it. And I saw one car that they've added in for this PS5 update. And I was like, oh shit, I want that. How much is it? It's $2 million. And I was like, oh man, that's a fifth of what I have right now. Do I want to spend the $2 million? But now I am like, if I play for the next week with Greg and Janet and Kevin or whoever else joins us, right? And like we get a lot of money off this, I could see myself going back and getting that car, right? Like it's the kind of that. It's the carrot on the stick for you to like want to keep moving. And I do sound like a rich person, don't I?
Yeah. Look, here's the thing: you should all be working at all times. You should be working at all times to be making money to help my system make more money. All right, you understand?
People don't want to work. You need to surround yourself with people that want to work. Absolutely, yeah.
I just looked online.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and jump into GTA Online. Yeah. Like, whoa.
So far as of my full career, I have earned over $183 million at GTA Online.
Look at you.
Goddamn.
Keyword earned. All right.
Yeah, you spent it too. We went right back into the economy.
It'll trickle down.
And I've spent $47 million, which means I have a lot more than $30 million. It's hard to count. You kind of lose track of it at some point. It's just numbers.
Man, it's crazy how you're not anywhere near close to Bezos still with that.
I know.
It's kind of insane.
Back to your point, Greg, though, like about like being able to jump into the casino heist, right? Or what do we have to do for that? I think that way of thinking is good in terms of like, what do I want to do and how do I do it? I think that's like what you'll want to get into when figuring out how you want to play GTA Online. Where it is, if you want to do the casino heist, yeah, like okay, let's figure it out. Like I'll like, and I'm down to like Sherpa or spend the money on whatever the fuck. I'll buy a which I think I might already have a penthouse. I have to double check, but like I'll buy a penthouse and then
Rich
bring you guys
people,
in.
we just forget what we own.
We just forget what we own.
I don't
Maybe
know. I
maybe
got
wanna
stuff,
casino penthouse.
man.
But like taking it step by step of okay, you need to be level 20. What can we do to get you level 20? Cool.
Yeah.
You need to buy a penthouse. Bless will buy a penthouse. All right, let's get this thing going. Like
I like that because I think that's the what'll be the. I like having a end goal and an end goal for whatever we're trying to do, right?
Sure,
Because
yeah.
when me and Kevin dropped in and we didn't know what we were doing, it was like I would like a DeLorean and I would also like to do this, and I was like, how much is a DeLorean? And you do the real world math, and I'm like, fuck no, I don't. But I wasn't thinking. I'm jumping from trying to go from A to K, right? But forgetting about B, C, D, etc.
exactly.
For like, if I think for sure, especially for like as much as we're trying to stream it and then hang out at night with it, like if it is that, I really do want to do a heist. That sounds awesome. That sounds like it would be a ton of fun to go do.
I think
And like for the way
like,
we stream too, like well, we were playing WWE 2K last week, and half of it was just us hanging around, hanging out, fucking around, tinkering and shit. And I think that is going to be once we stream GTA 5, like it is going to be us fucking around for a little bit, right? You figuring out how you want your car to look and taking it to the auto shop to trick it out for the first 30 minutes or however long, and then us deciding, all right, you ready to go? All right, cool, let's go do this mission, and me booting it up and like getting you guys the invites to go. And like I think with the stuff they've ironed out in terms of like loading and matchmaking and stuff, and like I assume it's still not perfect because I don't think this thing can ever be perfect. I would think that like with somebody that knows what they're doing, I'd be able to get you in my game easier than like when you and Kevin are playing with Peanut and it's like, all right, well, how do we got to do this? Okay, send the invite. Oh, my invite's not showing up. Like as long as we're in the same crew and we're friends, all that stuff, I think we should be able to make it work.
And
make it happen. I was trying to say make it happen and make it work at the same time, so I said make it hurt.
I was gonna say though, the heists are, if you envision them as raids in MMO, that's kind of what. Like, think about it like that.
What they are.
Because I would also hesitate for you all to jump into raids right away because you're gonna be undergunned. You're gonna need some good weapons. You're gonna need an armor outfit, and you're gonna just need straight up. Not to be, I know you guys are pro gamers here, but you're gonna need to get. You're gonna need to learn some of the nitty-gritty combat stuff of GTA, like how like.
I mean, that's the thing, right? I haven't played Grand Theft Auto since probably 2014.
So
I mean,
that's another
I guess
tip.
the Kevin stuff, but like I don't remember any of that. And like Grand Theft Auto, obviously from GTA 3 on, I feel like is kind of the same. But obviously, things change and they update. But like every time I get back in and settle into a GTA, it feels like home. Like I feel like I know what I'm doing. But like by no means do I think I'd be able to drop in right now and go raid.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a really.
I'm taking you on a heist at the start.
I was gonna say
really prison heist.
All right, Greg, you're right out of the career builder. Go get him.
If you're gonna do a heist right out of the gate, Blessing and you should do the Fleesa heist. It's a 2-person heist.
I literally just did that right before this.
It's so great. It's a 2-person heist. It's small scale. It gives you a nice feel of like what this is gonna be like and how it's gonna work, and you make some nice money out of it as well. But I would say play GTA 5. Like, don't jump right into GTA Online. If this is your first time coming to it, play GTA 5 for a couple hours because you're going to learn the controls and how this thing works without an 8-year-old on a jet bike blowing you up and yelling racial slurs. Like, that's a good tip.
Also, turn off the chat. That's also a good tip. It's
also, turn off the
chat.
Turn
off the public chat. I've not heard it in years.
That's like the scariest thing with like any multiplayer thing. Like the first time I jumped into, I don't know if it was like Apex or just some random like shooter that I downloaded. It was like the sound was just coming out of a computer. I'm like, oh my God, can they hear me? No, make it stop. Yeah. Please. But then once you do that, it's like, okay, it's fine. Now I'm back in my bubble.
Yeah, like Zwiezen, or I call you Zwiezen. Zach mentioned. I was looking at your username as I was referring to you. Zach mentioned the Fleesa heist, which is like the tutorial heist that they introduced to you, which is the 2-person heist that has like I think 2 setup missions than the actual mission. Yeah, I might even go as far as to just bring, if we have 4 people, right, bring you all into the prison heist because like the prison heist at the time was like the original, like this is the first heist you're doing, and it's the real deal. And I think with how much they've added to the game so far, like. I don't think the prison heist is going to be that difficult to get into, right? I think it will. Maybe the final mission might be a bit difficult.
There's some stealth in one of those setup missions where you have to stealth around in GTA.
Oh yeah, but like that's easy. That's I think for Greg, who's played GTA back in like 2013 or 2014, right? And like Janet, who I know is a gamer-ass gamer, right? And like Kevin, who I know can probably figure it out.
GTA Online stealth sucks. That's the thing I was going to warn you about.
And that's super fair, right? But I think that's part of the struggle is like I was struggling with this stuff through the heist, and I think that's where most people kind of like did it, right? Where the heist, as soon as that came out, everybody jumped right into it. And I think like no matter what, the game doesn't tutorialize its mechanics, I guess, outside of its single player mode.
The single player is the tutorial.
The single player does tutorialize those things, right? Where
Yeah.
online kind of just throws you in. But I think with that, right, like I think it's better to hop into the deep end and like have somebody there that knows what they're doing to be like, oh yeah, you want to do this, just hold the touch bar and like go to the inventory and apply
For sure.
or do whatever thing you need to learn.
Final question before we move on to the show, right? Cozy Bear writes into patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames and says, as a complete GTA Online neophyte, but someone who has played many other games as service experiences over the past decade, what is the one shining thing that GTA Online does better and or more uniquely than any other perpetually online game out there? Zach, Blessing, you have the floor. Janet's still smarting over not wearing a polo shirt. Sucks to be
Yeah,
her.
she's so furious. Look at her.
I'm hot.
Avoid the question. Classic.
I feel like I need to change my shirts.
Thank you, Barrett. Look at this woman not having a polo shirt. What are you thinking, Janet?
Out of context, it's gonna go over so bad.
As soon as I said it, I was like, no, that's
a very
everyone in context of the show will get it. But when that gets, look at it. I hate Greg.
Again, you keep playing yourself here, Greg. Oh,
look at
man.
this woman. What does he
This
mean
woman.
by that?
And I'm like, look, I showed up here just
said it with a
to
capital
film,
W.
do my shift. You know, I'm just trying to get through the show.
I'm not
a challenge.
I'll say I'm not a regular here, but I will say that Greg, it looks like the whole prank thing blew up in your face.
Yeah, it didn't go well for me, but that's
It
usually how it
didn't.
goes
Yeah,
around here.
it really does.
We enjoy it.
He keeps trying though, but you got to admire the hustle.
Look at
Also,
this
I didn't
woman.
notice that two of you are avoiding the
That's
question.
gonna
What does
that's
this
gonna get
game?
clipped. That's gonna get clipped.
You all
Oh,
understood
man.
the context.
It's so bad.
Come to my
Dude,
defense on
Women's
Twitter.
History Month too, isn't it?
That way,
Yeah.
when Greg Miller
you hate
goes
to
to
see
run
it.
for,
You hate
when you
to
run-
see it.
when you go to run for office, that's going to be in one of your attack ads. Like, Greg Miller said, "Look at this woman." It's just like, can you trust him with your kids?
Man.
Oh my god.
What does GTA Online do better than any of these other service games? It feels more like a world than any of them. That's what I would say. Like,
Oh.
in terms of, because GTA Online, it doesn't get updated as much as Fortnite. It doesn't have the super tactile combat like Destiny or Apex Legends. But in terms of like, hey, because I knew people who during the pandemic went on dates in GTA Online. They saw a movie. There's a theater. You can go watch movies in GTA Online. They're not good.
What movie
You can
is
go
it?
watch
It's an
them.
excellent like hangout space. I
Yeah.
think is
Yes,
that right?
it is
Because like when you
It
say
is.
world, you don't mean like, oh, it has better lore than Destiny or anything like that, right? Like
No,
that's not where you're coming.
I do love GTA Online lore, but no, yeah, I like. Here's what I'll say. It's the first and best metaverse.
Ooh.
And that's
Oh.
honestly, that kind of comes back to the answer I was going to give, which is like, I think role playing in GTA Online
Yes,
is supreme, and not role playing as in like, you know, specking your character and like, you know, doing the MMO like World of Warcraft type role playing, but role playing as in like, okay, cool, I want to be part of a biker gang. How like the game gives you everything you need to like actually go through that gameplay loop of what a biker gang would do, or I want to run an auto shop, or I want to run an arcade, and being able to actually embody that and actually feel like you are living in a world. They give you all the tools to do that and more in ways that, you know, feel authentic to what that would be like.
One time I just role played as a taxi driver in a public lobby. I got killed a lot. But there were some fun times
though. Because that's
It's
what I
fun,
like
yeah.
to like. I like doing the simi stuff in. I'm like trying so hard not to cry from laughter over what just happened. But the simi stuff in GTA is what I've really enjoyed. You know, like the taxi driving the ambulance. Like I spent like hours in the you know, the debatably botched trilogy. The games were always janky to me, so I'm like, whatever. I'm here in the ambulance. That's all I care about. So I'm looking forward to getting to see what those offerings are at a bigger scale. Blessing. I have a question.
What's up?
Is Elden Ring better than GTA 5/online?
I'm not answering that.
I'll
No matter
answer
what
that.
I say, people will turn their parts. So
Are we
no.
allowed to just not answer questions here? I feel like that's
I
not.
don't think so, Janet.
I'll answer.
I
for
don't,
Blessing.
yeah, I don't.
You told me
Look at
off
this
air.
man in his polo. What are you going to answer this question?
Look at this
I feel
male.
like Blessing not answering is giving me the answer.
Because like I'm not gonna. Here's the thing. Elden Ring just came out. GTA 5 I've stand over for a decade. Ask me again in a year. Ask me again when I've had time to sit with Elden
Hey, someone
Ring.
clip this out also, which is the
Yeah.
whoever's working the clips. Clip this out. Send it to me. I'll put it in my
Here's the
calendar.
thing,
A year?
Y'all be trying to get me to make
I'll-
hot
Are you-
takes.
wait,
I'm not here for hot takes.
I'll
I'm here
say
for
it.
hot
I'll-
You didn't
I'll-
answer though in a
nation.
year. Because you said ask me again. You didn't say you'd answer again in a year. Are you answering again in a year?
Oh yeah, I didn't see your alarm.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll answer in a year.
I'll answer now. GTA Online is better than every FromSoft game that's ever been developed.
Okay. Jeez. Okay. All right.
That's how we do it at Kotaku.
Look at this man, brave enough to have an opinion,
and not even on the weekend too. And you're gonna do that weekday heat.
Yeah, weekday opinion.
Yeah, dude. Let me tell you, weekday heat hits different from weekend heat.
That's true.
Yeah, weekend
like these gamers are
like
stressed from work.
Yeah, no. Here it's like everyone's like, I'm just tabbed out at the job that I hate, like waiting.
Waiting for somebody to yell at.
I mean,
anyway, Zach's on Twitter at Zwiezen.
Yeah.
It'll be in the description of the episode.
I have open DMs too, so come yell at me. Tell me. They both have shitty cameras. So.
Tamora enters your DMs.
GTA Online and Elden Ring don't even have quest logs. They both, like, look at that. It's like, it's
good point.
If I don't need
someone say that that's the allure of Elden Ring, is that, there's no, it's not like botched with all these things, all these lists, all these menus, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Horizon. Yeah.
Well, also GTA as well.
Yeah, why did Aloy have to catch a stray on that? I didn't bring
Aloy always catches a stray. Aloy catches a stray every 4 years, and it upsets me. It's like,
Aloy's
come on.
the only one
Release
that
your
can catch
game
a stray. I'm so mad about that, but anyway.
Blessing,
Greg,
hit me with some PlayStation updates.
Of course, last week, Greg, we got a big state of play. I don't know why I said big. We got a state of play last week. I have a quick recap for you. Of course, it started off with XO Primal coming from Capcom. That's coming in 2023. That's the game that at first looked like Dino Crisis and then looked a little bit like Project. What's it called? I forget what it was called. The thing that we thought looked like a Kojima game at the original PlayStation Showcase that ended up not being, but had like a spaceman and a spacesuit. Pragmata. Thank you so much, Barrett. We're going back and forth on whether it was one of those two. Ended up being this game, Exo Primal, which is about dinosaurs that are falling from the sky and you need to fight them with your friends.
Oh yeah.
We got that. We got a new Ghostwire Tokyo trailer. We got a new Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin trailer that announced a demo that lets you carry over your progress to the full game. We got a new Forspoken trailer. Gundam Evolution, which is a free-to-play FPS that is coming to PS5 and PS4 in 2022. I'm sure Andy will play that once. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection was announced and launches this year, which has a bunch of different TMNT games, classic games. Gigabash.
Do anything for you? Are you excited for that one?
Not really. I'm not a big TMNT game person. The one TMNT game I had growing up was the Game Boy one. I can't remember the name of it. And I think it was in there because I saw
it is in there. Yeah, they got the Game Boy ones.
Yeah, I played that and that kicked my ass as a kid. I remember being frustrated with it. But like aside from that, I don't know. Like I think I just
like NES Ninja Turtles. Like I don't want to go back to.
I'd rather just wait for Shredder's Revenge because that's
one of the games in there is like the NES version of one of the arcade games. It's like, what are you doing? Like who?
Yeah,
I mean,
but it seems like it has everything.
I mean, I love the idea of retro collections like that. More of that, please. But I don't care about Turtles, so.
Yeah. Gigabash, aka Gagabash, aka what looks like, what was it, War of the Monsters? Is coming to PS5 and PS4 this year. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R launches this fall, and it looks like it's just another 3D arena fighter that you usually get for anime games.
And it's a re-release of the original 2013 game.
Wait, there was a 2013 game?
Yeah. JoJo's old.
I did not realize that. Our style looks interesting though. And then we got another trailer for Trek to Yomi, which is that cool looking Devolver Digital game that looks like really cool. Side-scrolling Ghost of Tsushima. We got the announcement of Returnal Ascension, a free update to Returnal that's going to add co-op along with the Tower of Sisyphus mode, which is one that I've been asking for a while, and I'm surprised they just put it out as state of play, which cool. Like I like having these exciting announcements state of play. I wish I had more of them. And then.
Janet, are we still down? Are we going to co-op on Returnal? We try to
I think we should. Where it's like, yes, because it's like people were like, like me and Greg simultaneously tweeted out again, same person, that ready to get carried in Returnal, and someone suggested that we just play together and try to carry each other, even though we're the ones that need to be carried. I feel like it can be. I think we can do this in the style of like when people do those three-legged races, right? Like, Is it pretty? No. Is it entertaining? Yes. Is it an experience? Yes. So together we each only have to be about half a gamer, and I think that math shakes out. I don't know. I was an English major.
Stream, honestly,
I think it sounds like a great stream, but also I think you guys are discounting game balancing. I don't know if the game's going to be the same. That's
a big question. Like, are they gonna, because sometimes when you have these co-op situations, they do up the like boss health or something like that. Like, I'm not sure what they're doing, if you can even really be carried in here, but if you can revive people, I think that's enough of
the key, I think.
That'll like, we can just jank our way through. But yeah, I'm excited for me and Greg to try this as like story people who are just like, what's with this weird house, and just spend way too long walking around the house and not making any progress. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that too. I'm more excited about the Tower of Ascension, or the not the Tower of Ascension, Tower of Sisyphus mode, which seems like it's going to be like an endless kind of like bullet hell kind of experience.
And there seems to be like new story stuff in that mode as well. Though.
Yeah, because they showed like the weird elevator looking thing, which that wasn't in the house. And so yeah, I'm super hyped for that. And then for anybody who wants to play Returnal in co-op, the sucky thing is that like I kind of wish the co-op came with new co-op content. It seems like the co-op is just going to be the straight up single player that we had. And like, you know, I beat Returnal and like I played those levels 1,000 times. Like I don't like I would love to like squad up with like Andy or somebody, right? But like if both of us beat the game, do we really want to go back and do the same thing again? I don't know about that. Like I'd be down to play with either Greg or Janet as well, but like I don't want to take away from this 3-legged race situation.
Yeah, we don't want you giving us too much skill. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think there'll be plenty of content left when me and Greg are done playing for you to help us with. But thank you.
And then the state of play ended with 2 Square Enix announcements. The Dealfield Chronicle, that was announced for PS5 and PS4, and then Valkyrie Elysium was announced for PS5 and PS4, and is coming in 2022. It was all right. It was an all right state of play, I guess.
Could have been an email.
It's what state of play is, right?
Yeah,
state of play is. Like, I think there's always this. I stick with this hype and excitement to E3, but then there are always the Debbie Downers who come in and go, "You're getting excited for a commercial. This is just marketing." Yeah, and it's always like, well, yeah, but it's exciting marketing and yada yada. State of play is just marketing. It is just trailers and announcements stitched together. You might not care. They might not be the biggest thing in the world, but hopefully you find something in that. It's like opening up a Sears catalog where all this is designed for me to buy the toy, but hey, that's a cool toy on this one page.
I would
Honestly,
say
most things boil back to buying things. Like, not to get like darkly capitalistic, but like I was sorting through like my TikTok saved videos because I'm like, oh, I saved like helpful things and tip things. And when I looked at all the different categories, they were all just different forms of pushing me to buy something. And I was like, oh man. And then I started thinking about like how everything is just about buying stuff because we live in a very capitalistic world. So yeah, I don't think it's a useful conversation to be like, well, this is just a big ad. Like, yeah, most stuff is ads. Like we read like we're reading like press releases about games to get you to know the game and buy the game. Like, you know, inherently, I think there's still value and conversation to be had. I also want to take this moment to shout out me and Blessings episode on PS I Love You, the state of play. I feel like if you're looking for like that bigger picture conversation on that, like I actually might go back and re-listen to that episode we did because I feel like we talked a lot about what we'd like to see from the restructuring of it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and like that's the thing is that episode I think gave us all good clarity on what to expect from state of play, and the state of play is exact proof that we were spot on in terms of like, you know, go back to the beginning of, let's say 2021. What is the biggest announcement that there was at a state of play, right? And I'm not talking about like the focus stuff, right? The Horizon focus state of play. I think that's a different thing, right? When they announced like, hey, a 20-minute state of play is coming. What's been the biggest announcement in the last 14 months? I think the one that comes to mind would be Final Fantasy 7 Intergrade, right? And I think right below that might honestly be Returnal Ascension. Like you're not getting any game changers at a state of play. What you might get are some cool games that maybe you weren't aware of, right? You might get an indie here or there. Like I know Trek to Yomi hit hard for a lot of people, and not everybody watched the Devolver Digital thing, and so like that's going to be new to some people. And also we got Sifu at a state of play. Also, I think maybe in the last 14 months as well, where that was revealed, right? Like if you're getting enough Sifus out of it, and you're getting enough like, oh shit, I didn't know about this, I want to check this thing out type of trailers, then I think that's fine enough. I don't know at this point how you manage expectation for state of play. I think that's where I'm at because they keep
I think now it's managed. I feel like mischief managed on this. People know the jig is up and they know that this is what it's going to be. And now it'll hopefully be the outlier when it is something crazy and exciting. We're like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, we're really specific about this one. So yeah,
it's frustrating because I see people on Twitter for state of play sometimes going like, oh, GTA 6. It's like no.
That's what the PlayStation Showcase is for, right? And like I think maybe I don't know, like I think maybe it is the thing of knowing that PlayStation Showcase seems to be once a year, right? We got one last fall. Before that, we got one the fall before, and then before that, I think we had the PS5 reveal that was in E3 territory. I think knowing that PlayStation doesn't show up for E3 really, and knowing you're not going to get a big event like that from PlayStation until the fall leaves people hungry for news, hungry for announcements, hungry for like what Bend or any of these other studios are working on.
It's also like it's the Nintendo Direct phenomena. People are expecting Microsoft to Sony's all these little videos they do to be bangers, like so many of these Nintendo Directs, and that's just not it. They just are. They're just never to that level.
But also, like, I think the Nintendo Direct, like, there definitely have been a lot of banger directs, but there've also been a lot that aren't that wavy. I feel like it's funny because like Nintendo, in a really like smart / convenient way, grandfathered in is like the pinnacle of smaller showcases, when more often than not, like I leave directs and I'm totally like underwhelmed by it. But I think because they got that formula down before anybody else, they are like kind of credited with like that's the best way to go about doing these formats.
The thing I mentioned after the showcase, when the state of play after we watched it live, was that like I think the comparison to Nintendo Direct is the thing of what you're talking about, Janet. When we watch Nintendo Direct and it's a dud, usually for me that signals that the next few months to maybe a year for the Switch might end up being a dud, because I think the Nintendo Directs are more close to like a forecast for what to expect from Nintendo, where you get those E3 Directs and usually like they're exciting, or at the very least they're trying to be exciting, because they are setting the tone for you're getting Mario Strikers in June, you're getting Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in the fall, you're getting XYZ game, right? And it is them forecasting the year, and like that sets the tone. Whereas State of Plays, I don't even think are that, right? No. State of Plays, I don't think is like the PlayStation going, hey, here's what to expect for the year. State of Play is more so PlayStation going, hey, here's some games that like we're partnered with or that we want you to know about because we need a place where we can promote these things.
I was going to say,
that's what I was saying. State of Play feels like, oh, we have to do this because we have deals with people.
Exactly. State of Play is a line in a marketing contract, right? It's a line in the marketing contract of like, we will give you X amount of promotion that includes being included in showcases and State of Plays. And you get to a point where you're like, we're not doing one that's going to have like, we're not doing a showcase anytime soon. And these are the ones that contractually have to be obligated so that when Chuck to Yomi's like next month, right? Or something. It's spring. I think I'm going to put it as spring. Like we have to get this out. This is our chance to talk about this before it actually happens.
I was just going to say one last thing is I always see people get angry about State of Plays, less so about the directs because they're like not enough big games. But then I see all these same people complaining about there's too many games. So you guys need to make up your mind. I don't know which one you want. Do you want more big games to play?
What I want is to be angry.
Okay.
I will also say that like,
we always get what we need from games.
That's true. There's always something to be angry
about. It has been also a banger year, right? You're talking about too many games. Like if you're just talking about PlayStation specific, you got God of War on PC, which might not count for whatever people, but like you got God of War on PC, you got Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection, you got Horizon Forbidden West, you got Sifu, you got Elden Ring. Like it's been nonstop, and it's like still going in terms of games that you're getting.
And we're only in March.
Yeah, there's never been a better time to be into video games, is what I'll say.
Oh, that's a bold statement.
Wow. I think 2009 was the best year to be into video games. I'm not going to look it up.
But like you can still play those 2019
I was going to say,
now,
but that still works to his advantage.
Yeah, it's not like every year is the best year to be part
exactly, Janet.
Because you always have more stuff.
Exactly.
It's a nice way to look at it. It's very wholesome.
Unless you can't buy a PS5, which is most of you, so maybe it's not. But hey.
Maybe next year, though.
Maybe next year. Maybe next year is going to be the best time to be into video
Next year is definitely the best time to get a PS5.
Speaking of State of Play, we have another State of Play coming this week. It is a State of Play for Hogwarts Legacy. I'm pulling directly from the PlayStation blog where they write, Avalanche Software and Warner Brothers Games are happy to partner with PlayStation to bring you a special edition of State of Play entirely dedicated to Hogwarts Legacy. The broadcast will begin this Thursday, March 17th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Since we first revealed Hogwarts Legacy, the trailer has been viewed over 28 million times on PlayStation's YouTube channel. We promised to share more this year, and we're finally ready to deliver on that promise. The show will run for about 20 minutes, featuring over 14 minutes of Hogwarts Legacy gameplay captured on PS5, and concluding with some insight from a few members of the team at Avalanche Software who are bringing the wizarding world to life. This is an incredible moment that we've been building toward for a long time. We can't wait to show you what we've been working on. And this is one that feels like it's coming out of nowhere, right? And it feels like it falls in line with what Zach was saying about like contractual obligations. Yeah, like this is one that was revealed at that original PS5 showcase, and I think this might be the first. Correct me if I'm wrong. I said this earlier today. Nobody corrected me, so I must be right. I think this is the first PlayStation showcase or PlayStation State of Play specifically that is like all focused on a third-party game. That also I don't believe is exclusive, right? Hogwarts Legacy I think is multi-platform.
No, it's everywhere.
Yeah, and so like. It's interesting from that regard, but again, like I think it does come back to the marketing obligations thing. But I don't know, like where do you guys fall on this one?
No, it's definitely not an awkward time to be talking about Harry Potter.
Woof, you know what I mean? That's where it falls. Like remember the beginning of the year when they were like out of the blue, like we're not coming this year. We'll be see you next year. Like, or was that last year? Is it this year the game is? And I'm thinking of last year.
Exit stage left.
It's been talked about for a really long time.
I think I might be thinking about a year ago, right?
Am I really?
Last year
Jesus
at the
Christ.
beginning of the year where they're like 2022.
It feels like they stopped talking about it. Like, okay, let stuff calm down. We got this, and then
Stuff is never calm with J.K. Rowling.
no, yeah.
And
Do you think that gets addressed at all? I don't think so.
No,
No.
because they're
Like the
too-
opening
No.
line to the game,
Because it's-
Harry comes through and is like, "Fuck J.K. Rowling, I don't like
Yeah.
her."
because they're owned by
Yo,
WB.
that'd be lit.
They're owned by WB.
Hold on.
They
Barrett's
still-
trying to talk. Barrett,
yeah.
start from the top. Everybody's talking.
No, they're never going to address it because they're owned by WB. WB still needs to have that working relationship with her. They're too scared of, the amount of, power that she has as the person she is. So,
Yeah.
no, it's never going to be addressed. I know there are, people who have been hoping up and down that they're going to, like, openly talk about, like, being against her actions. And it's just, like, it's never going to happen. So don't expect
Like, I think
that.
it would be lovely to get a blog, but I think to Barrett's point, right? Like, I'm sure the developers would love to put out a blog and be like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, just so you know, like, we don't fuck with this, we don't fuck with these views, we don't fuck with
Right.
what she's saying."
Also,
But yeah, to that
Greg,
point,
you
like,
were thinking of
power is at play.
you were thinking of last year, January
Okay.
2021, like
Jesus.
right when the
year
beginning of
started.
the year. Yeah, they were like, "Hey, no, we're delaying a year." So
I don't think much about this game.
Same. I keep forgetting that this game exists. And like we were
Yeah.
talking about this earlier today, like me and Tim were talking about it, that like this is a game that I should be excited for. Like if you told me as a kid, or you told me years ago, I guess, like that a Harry Potter video game, like a big RPG where you hang out at Hogwarts was coming out, I'd be like, yo, that sounds fire. I am in. I want to be Slytherin. But it's hard, right?
This adds
Like,
up.
wait, do I give Slytherin vibes to you, Janet?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. I love
100%.
hearing that.
What? Anyway, but yeah, like I mean, it's definitely like
I want to talk to snakes.
it's definitely like a that is kind of cool.
Right?
It's definitely a monkey's paw situation where like, yeah, like I mean, generally with the IP, I do like Harry Potter. I mean, like many millennials, I'm not above liking Harry Potter. I, read a bunch of almost all the books. I think I ended on the last one. I didn't finish it. I was reading it right before the movie came out. Like I watched them at midnight. Like I got into it late, but I did get into it. And I think there's, it's the classic scenario of art versus the artist versus this is a unique scenario though, I think, where it's like this twice removed situation where the IP obviously is like J.K. Rowling's point blank, like she made Harry Potter,
It's her
but
baby.
like a lot of people will be like, oh well, I mean, yeah, but like the game and the developers, that's kind of like a separate thing, but like it's not possible to fully separate those things because of the IP. So like with many things, you got to make your own decisions on what lines you want to draw. I mean, if we look close enough, there's a lot of evil in a lot of things. That being said, there are certain times where I'm like, look, the way this is so in my face, it just makes me not want to engage with the thing anymore. And we all have different lines for that. But I think one thing that I kind of want to just like say about this, because I know it's going to keep coming up, is there'll be people who are like, well, isn't it a shame that like you're not covering it though? Like, isn't it part of your job to do this? And I think to a degree, like I probably will end up watching it, but like I'm not going to stream a reaction to it because I don't feel like being part of like the hype cycle in that way. But I mean, it'd be weird for us to act like this wasn't an issue and wasn't part of the conversation, because like, hey, if you didn't want this to be a part of the conversation, don't be transphobic. But guess what? The creator is. So now it's part of the conversation. Like, I think when it's so in your face, it would be weirder not to talk about it. Now, if that's not something that you want to seek out, I'm sure you can find somewhere plenty of people that are doing that coverage, and that can be, the angle you get from it. You're not gonna get the same thing from everybody, but that's the reason there is that like weird thing of the game does look interesting and cool, but it's so tied to like this baggage and darkness that it makes me a bit uncomfortable to engage with it. And like it's been said, there's a cajillion games coming out. Maybe I'm better off spending my time just doing something else that isn't weighed down by all of this baggage, even if nothing is like completely pure in terms of exploitation or other issues.
Yeah, I think
so that's kind of where I stand on
that's
it.
the tough thing about it too, with this game too in particular, is that there are so many. It's one that it doesn't have a clear solution that I don't know how to deal with myself. Of like, you're talking about a game that is coming from a developer that is separate from J.K. Rowling, right? And like, I don't know much about Avalanche as a developer in terms of like the ongoings. Like, do they deal with crunch? Do they have the same issues as other developers? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know, right? But like, you're probably talking about a game being created by people who are passionate about what they do and people who probably despise J.K. Rowling for what her beliefs are and what she says and what she spouts, right? And like, we find ourselves in this place of looking at this thing going, man, I want to support this, and I want to, and like, I don't have beef with the developers, but I do have beef with the IP creator, and the IP creator likely is going to profit off of this thing, right? And like, I don't know. It's tough. Like, I don't know. I personally don't know how to cover something like this.
Yeah.
And so like my solution off the bat is to like, I know, like, and granted, this is my own decision, right? Like, I don't dictate what we live react to, what we don't live react to, right? But I don't have the immediate go-to of like, oh yeah, of course we're live reacting to that, because like, is there even hype about it in our own like company anymore because of what the creator has done for it, right? Like, and on my own, right? I might watch it, I might not. You know, I'm curious to see what the gameplay is, just from somebody who likes video games and want to see what they do with the Harry Potter video game. But also, I'm like, am I gonna play it? Like, it's a tough thing that I'm like, I'm down to hear feedback about from what people would think. Like, how do you cover this game? Because it seems like everybody's kind of split different directions on how to approach something like this.
A lot of people have been responding to me because, you know, I kind of go off on Raleigh every once in a while just because she fucking infuriates me as a person.
And you were a huge Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge part of my childhood. For the longest time, I had career aspirations on rebooting the series for a TV show. Like, that's where I wanted to take my life at one point. And just with all the stuff that's been happening in, you know, for the last at least 5 years, that have become less and less subtle from her. It's just like, I can't look at anything and just not think about the hate that she kind of preaches in the very of like just questioning the existence of people who, you know, deserve to exist. And so, you know, people were throwing to me of like, oh, you know, like H.P. Lovecraft was racist, but, you know, there's so many works of art that aren't directly by him that people have, you know, been inspired to create. And it's like, all right, cool. You're telling me a white man from 100 years ago is racist? That's crazy. Like, no shit. And also, he's dead. He's been dead for almost 100 years. He's not profiting off of, like, the stuff that's being created now by, like, other creators.
Yeah.
Off of his work, where it's like, she's alive now. She is being, like, an absolute terrible person to the
with
trans
no
community
too, right?
now, and she's like making money off of all of this stuff now, which goes into the, you know, just her kind of power and wealth that, you know, gives her a lot of influence over, you know, not just people, but in like trying to get like legislation going on anti-trans stuff. And that's just like I remember when the game was first officially revealed, because it leaked years and years ago, and it, you know,
mall survey,
and it was one of those like, I remember tweeting out like, you know, this literally is the game of like I've been wanting since playing Bully in like middle school and loving Harry Potter and being like, I'd put these two things together, but I don't think I can do it. And so many people responded of like, you know, like, oh, you're calling for a boycott of the game, think of the devs and stuff like. And I, even with like my very strong feelings, like I'm never calling for a boycott. I just personally can't feed the machine anymore. And if you want to feed the machine, that's fine. But you know,
there's
think
such a difference between having your opinion and then calling for a boycott and all this stuff. You know, it's the same thing you see thrown around when people want to go, oh, cancel culture. Cancel culture is out to get everybody, and it's like, no, it's the consequence of your actions, and that's the long and short of it. I think, you know, you can try to rename it cancel culture because, of course, when you were growing up and there wasn't, and this is me obviously, or a different generation even, growing up and there wasn't a device in your hand that linked the entire world to be able to talk by the, you know, nanosecond. It would be that if you were a fuckwad and an asshole in your town, then people didn't want to hang out with you, right? And they didn't want to do things, and they didn't want to shop at your store. And like, that wasn't cancel culture. That was just you being a dickhead and people not wanting to be around you. And so now that you can expand everyone's footprint to include everything, and everybody has an opinion, you get out into this thing. I think you're on the money, Barrett, of like, you have to have and do what you want to do with the information that is presented, especially about something you love, right? And for me, that's what's been so interesting about this. Of course, that I, you know, believe in trans lives, trans rights. I think that everything she said is heinous. I think, you know, it's totally horrible. But then it's also the fact that I never had a horse in this race, right? Like, I never gave a shit about Harry Potter. Like, I enjoyed the movies fine, but I was never like all in or anything. And so for me, it's always, you know, the flip of like, and this doesn't work as well, but stick with me and just for 1 second, suspend your disbelief. Like, I grew up being a huge Kevin Smith fan. If Kevin Smith suddenly gets outed as a horrible human being, right? And let's say he didn't star in his movies as well, a horrible human being, and then they were going to make another Mallrats or a Mallrats video game, or, you know, a Jane Silent Bob video game or something to that effect, right? And even if they're saying he has no direct involvement with it, it would be like, well, yeah, but like, these are the characters, ideas, rules that were generated from his universe, and I wouldn't feel comfortable supporting that. And again, yeah, I wouldn't be out there using our, and I shouldn't even say I wouldn't be. I don't expect myself that I would be out there telling you the viewer, the listener, you shouldn't enjoy this new Mallrats game because I don't want it. You, how could you? I don't feel like that's where I would take it, and so that's how I'd apply it over here. And I think to your point, Blessing, of like, reaction and stuff like this. What are we gonna do about it? Stuff like, well, there are tons of things we don't react to already. And like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like just because something in video games is happening, we're going to go react to it. I can think of all manner of like Mortal Kombat stuff and like, and I shouldn't even name stuff. I'm sure we have reacted to some Mortal Kombat thing, but you understand, like genres we don't get into that we wouldn't go do. And so us not reacting to this or reacting to it or whatever, it is a weird thing, but I think it speaks more to, rather than the fact that it's happening, it is more the fact of what's the interest level. Does anyone at KindaFunny give a shit about this game anymore? Does anybody want to play this game? Is anybody over the moon about this game? Because just because it's open world action adventure, blah, 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 doesn't mean I'm going to be like, oh, let's go react to it because I like that thing. And I'm not even talking about Hogwarts. I'm talking about games in general. And so I think there is a bunch of stuff to cover here, let alone, and that's just at a core level of, does anybody care about the game, period, let alone then the social implication of it. And the fact of like, how do we individually feel about like supporting something that the creator, we don't agree with ideology.
Yeah. Like when, like when like the appearance of that IP makes you automatically feel sad, right? Like that is a thing that I think just affects your reception of it, where I think it even goes beyond just her being a bad person, person outwardly, right? And supporting all these bad initiatives. It goes back to the thing of like, it's hard for me to think of myself playing Hogwarts Legacy and not having like a kind of feeling about it, right? And that is kind of her being attached to it, right? And it's it being her baby, right? And like that is not like me speaking to the quality of what the developers might put out there, right? That is mainly like the dampening of my excitement and me not feeling like I can play this thing anymore with the excitement that I would play in Elden Ring or Horizon or any other game that I'll be looking forward to in that way. Like I wish this was that game that I was looking forward to with no caveats attached. And now I'm like, oh well, I don't feel like watching this thing because it's gonna make me feel bad, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything that could happen that could change that in your mind? Like, is there anything they could do that's what I was trying to think too, because I know people who grew up with Harry Potter, like that was where they started reading, like they have such a connection to it. I don't have that, but they have such a connection to it, and I feel bad for them because they don't want to play this game. I mean, they want to play this game, but they just ethically they just feel like they can't. Is there any, and I asked them and they don't have an answer, is there anything Warner Brothers or Avalanche could do to like, could they donate?
If they like donated a bunch
right, that's what I say. Could they be like, okay,
something.
20% of our profits for the
but
first
I think
year.
even that doesn't remove just the feeling of Harry Potter.
Sure, yeah.
I think that's still where the tough thing comes out. Where like I think I wouldn't feel as guilty about like supporting the game if they did donate all that money, but I think my enjoyment factor would still be hindered because of
because it's in there. It's in your head.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah.
It's what the question started at the top, right? Where if the state of play opened and they did address it head on. You know what I mean? I know there's the FAQ saying that like, oh, she has no direct involvement with the game. It's like, yeah, okay, but like,
it would help.
What do you think about this?
Yeah. And I was going to say, do you think we'll see when the game comes out, people play it? Do you think there's anything in the game that's like super positive
screen or whatever? Yeah. Like,
yeah.
And I think that'd be dope, right? Where like they
or even a trans character in the game.
Yeah,
that has like a really nice fleshed out narrative and is like kind of their fuck you to her.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like I think the game does have. I think the game allows you to create your own character, and it would be dope to see. Like I think there's a thing that's needed in games, period. Right, like the ability to be able to create the character the way you want to create it, and like be able to choose your pronouns, right? But like if I wanted to, I could dress my character to maybe be like he him presenting, but like maybe change my pronouns throughout the game if I wanted that option, right? Or like have whatever options of hair style, anything I want. But you'd be able to choose my pronouns in my way, right? I think that would be I think that'd be a big step, not only for the game, but also for like video games, period. Because not enough video games are allowing you those options. That's really.
I think the real issue with like is there a world where it could be different, or could something happen that would change like our general feelings on it if we do have those like negative feelings coming into it? I don't really think so, because the problem is, and like people will argue, oh, like the amount she gets is so small, it's just royalty, whatever, this, that, and the other. Like the fact of the matter is, if Hogwarts and this is not me saying that like I'm hoping this game flops or anything detailed to the sales or how good the quality is, but like let's say this comes out and like I were to play it and like talk about it and kind of really be all in on it, that's essentially pushing that Harry Potter IP, which still will go back to her is the issue. It's all interconnected, and it's unfortunate because like I said, I really like the IP, but I don't know, drinking butterbeer at Universal don't hit the same now because it's tainted, and nothing's gonna make it not really feel that way. And, you know, there's ways to try to like meet halfway and remedy things. You know, I've seen so many I think back to like the Activision Blizzard stuff, which is obviously still ongoing, and in so many ways that journalists and content creators have tried to address those things and move through in a way that they feel good about, whether it's through donations, whether it's through like Holly I forgot what outlet Holly's at, you know, at Winners Use Drugs is her handle. She had like that preview that wasn't a preview of Diablo, talking about the challenges of analyzing something in the wake of so many other things that are happening. And I think we're going to continue to see approaches like that. But yeah, I don't think there's quite anything that would totally remove it. And like I said, it's, you know, we all have to choose on how we go about things. I don't necessarily think there's a hard right or wrong on it. But I think it's a little ridiculous for people not to accept that that is part of the conversation, that people are going to feel that way about it. Even if you end up choosing to be excited about it and be into it and sort of put that aside, like that is something though that you end up having to put aside, or worse, you agree with her and then that's just terrible. But that act is still happening, even if you want to act like, oh, well, it's no big deal because I like do this all the time or whatever. Like it's just there. And I mean, it's why we talked about it for so long. It's not, we don't go this deep on the other things surrounding the development or release of a game. This is such like an extenuating circumstance this game is around, which makes this a very monkey's paw state of play, where it's like, man, in a certain context, this would have been such a cool thing, but now it's just kind of like, well, I don't know, it's going to come out, and like we'll see what we do with it, and it's just kind of all a bit dampened. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the coverage of this one, and yeah, I have no idea what to expect or what I even want from coverage of it, frankly.
Jumping back again, I had to blow the dust off this information. We're going to go to March 2nd, 2021 at Bloomberg, where Jason Schreier wrote, Harry Potter video games will allow transgender characters. The next Harry Potter video game will allow players to customize their character's voice, body type, and gender placement for the school's dormitories, taking a stride toward inclusivity after several recent controversies stemming from comments by series creator J.K. Rowling that were seen as transphobic. Of course, they're talking about Hogwarts Legacy and going a little bit of detail about that. And then also remember, too, that I forgot all about this until it's at the very bottom of the article. Last month, Hogwarts Legacy faced more controversy after gaming journalist Liam Robertson revealed that Troy Levitt, a senior producer at Salt Lake City-based Avalanche, made dozens of YouTube videos attacking feminism and quote-unquote social justice. He also expressed support for Gamergate, a loose community of gamers who harass journalists and game developers for voicing progressive views. Reset Era, one of the largest video game forums, enacted a total ban on threads for promotional media around Hogwarts Legacy in the wake of the discovery and Rowling's comments. He says here, Levitt didn't return a request for comment, but then of course remember after the publish of that article he did in fact leave. I remember all this. It's, you know, one of the many stupid controversies that have gone through, and not that obviously I'm not saying
it's not stupid that it's a controversy.
Exactly. Just one of the fucking like
another political ad that you're gonna be in now. You're gonna clip that little bit.
Remember the episode of PS I Love You where woman and then all of
that is gonna be so toxic. I hate it.
They're gonna edit Greg Miller to say feminism stupid.
Oh man, this is rough.
Yeah, so back to it of like,
I feel so bad for those devs. Like
totally. And that's the funny thing about this is what we always talk about, right? Of like, you're a team of hundreds of people making a AAA video game, right? And I'm sure there's good and bad people on that team, but they're trying their hardest. They're doing all stuff. And then something that's like, it's you know, we've talked about it, and like you brought up Lovecraft, and then we talk about Activision Blizzard, and it's like, it's still such a different thing than like Activision Blizzard, where it's like, Bobby Kotick sucks, right? And there's all these like super and these high level execs that are really fucking terrible, horrible, heinous people, right? But they're not the creative force behind the idea or the thing. You know what I mean? Right. Whereas like this is like J.K. Rowling, some of these people fucking adored and loved growing up and made, you know, Dumbledore gay and did all these things where it was like, yeah, that's awesome. That's progressive. That's great. And I see people are like, I see myself represented. To then be like, well, and they like go off on these fucking tears where you're like, just shut the fuck up and go away. What are you doing? Why are you like this?
Why are rich people on Twitter? I don't get it.
And that's part of it that I think just reflects badly on the art itself, where it's like, before that context, you know, I didn't have any problem watching Harry Potter. And now with that context, I'm like, oh man, is this character like, would this character would have been a different way if it wasn't J.K. Rowling and her having those opinions? Like, you know, I think that's the part of it that comes back to being tough with the actual art itself.
I think too, and like, you know, obviously we can talk about this forever, but you know, there's only so much time, and I'm sure this will come up throughout the, you know, leading up to the launch and when this game comes out and the reception. But with the like, oh yeah, it is unfortunate for the devs for sure, but I see so many people like take that and angle it as like, oh, so now I have to cover it because they're gonna lose their jobs. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
No, that's not my
leadership. That's a failure of leadership, and that put that on WB. Like I'm not involved in that, and I don't think any consumer should feel that way about it. If someone's job is contingent on a very specific individualistic behavior from me as the consumer, I feel like that's a failing that's not involved in the like, it doesn't make sense to, by that logic, I need to be buying every game all the time because people's job, the inverse is it's just not a good way to think about.
But Janet, we want to make sure that you're not working for being paid off by game devs for good review scores, but at the same time, we need you to do their job in promoting the game, Janet. Jesus.
I'm like, if you guys don't sub to me on Twitch right now, you are asking for my lights to get cut. Like, can you imagine how no one would make a call like that? Please don't clip that out in the bad.
I was gonna say,
I need something.
Janet says that you need to pay for her light bills, her electricity bills.
Yeah, they're actually really high too because I'm working from home. It's crazy,
free, but still hating everything.
Careful, Greg, what you say? You're just adding to your own edit. So
I'll add
I wouldn't
one,
go punching across the screen.
I mean, I've emailed all these companies to be like, pay me off. I'll write all the great reviews. Nobody gets back to me.
Damn.
Nobody wants me.
Damn. You heard it here first, Kotaku. Now it's time for PlayStation picks. This is where we highlight a few of the cool looking games coming to PSN this week. Starting with the big hitters, of course, GTA 5 is coming out for PS5 on Tuesday, March 15th. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax is coming to PS4 Thursday, March 17th. And then Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin is coming to PS5 and PS4 on Friday, March 18th. As far as the PlayStation hits themselves, let's start off with Phantom Breaker Omnia. That's coming to PS4 on Tuesday, March 15th. Phantom Breaker Omnia is a fast-paced 2D anime fighting game that features 20 unique characters pitted against one another to make their greatest wishes come true. The ability to choose between 3 fighting styles will appeal to seasoned gamers while making the game accessible to newcomers. This is one that I think Greg hit me up about because Greg got a press release or something for it, and I looked at the trailer and I was like, yeah, man, I can see myself playing this. This looks like an anime 2D ass fighting game, and that is my shit. And so if you're into these kinds of games, then that might be one for you. And then we also have Paradise Killer that is coming to PS5 and PS4 on Wednesday, March 16th. Paradise Island, a world outside reality. There's been a murder that only investigation freak Lady Lovedyes can solve. Gather evidence and interrogate suspects in this open world adventure. You can accuse anyone, but you'll have to prove your case in trial. It's up to you to decide who's guilty. This is one that came out for a Switch probably like a year and a half ago, I think, at this point. I remember I played quite a bit of this on Switch, and I was not blown away. I like the art style a lot. Is basically the thing I took from it, right? Like, I think it's a really unique setup for a game where I think people were comparing it to Danganronpa for the detective aspect of it, where you are in first person walking around an open world, talking to characters and trying to get to the bottom of who's the killer. And I fucking love the music. I fucking love the art style of this one. It reminds me a bit of Neon White that's coming out soon from the same developer as Donut County. But yeah, if this looks like it's something up your alley, I highly recommend it. Like, I know Natalie from Fanbyte, I think she's the one that raves about this game as well.
Yep.
Does this one do anything for you? Janet, are you going to check out Paradise Killer?
I have it on Switch, so I feel like if I want to check it out, I probably would just continue my playthrough. I only played a little bit of it. The art style definitely did stand out, but I just kind of didn't really end up spending enough time with it to get into it. But it's one that I'm interested in revisiting because it did have a lot of, like, everyone I knew in my circles that had played this through was really into it. Natalie was also who I was going to point to as someone that was a champion for this game. And I really, trust her, like, criticism and judgment. So I'm like, okay, if Natalie's into it, I kind of want to spend, maybe there's something here that I didn't pick up on the first time around. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's worth checking out because I've seen a lot of hype around that.
Strangers of Paradise Killer.
That was a great pregnant pause. I wanted to see how we get him look at the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been another episode of PS I Love You, XOXO. Thank you so much for joining us. And Zach, thank you for joining us. Where can people keep up with you?
Kotaku.com. I'm always posting crap there. And you can...
What a sell.
I'm being honest with you folks. Our Twitter, last name, first initial. It's hard. ZWIEZ. It's a weird name.
It's in the description of this episode. Don't worry.
There you go.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming through. You also did Games Daily the other day. You're great at that too.
Yeah. I'm basically, I haven't got any checks yet for all the other weeks where you use my content.
You know what? You put it out there for free. That's on you. You know what I mean? Put it behind a paywall like we did. Think about it. Think about it. All right. It's not hard.
I write for the people.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, on that note, people, you should go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames right now because we're about to do the PS I Love You XOXO post show where you could get it. Of course, you could also get the show ad free. Of course, you could also write in to be part of it. Of course, you could also watch live like Estelle, Ryan, and Madeline all are. And of course, you could take care of us as a Patreon producer. Got no bucks, no big deal. YouTube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, podcast services around the globe each and every Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. Of course, remember the Gamescast has a whole bunch of reviews going up. We're always streaming on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. And this has been PS I Love You XOXO. Each and every week, myself, Blessing, and Janet come together to nerd out about all things PlayStation. And if you like that, hell, do we have a show for you? For now, it's post-show time. So until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.